pull of the crowd, the overpowering of a tackle, the thrill of scoring, the feeling nothing compares with. Milo President's Trophy Finals between St. Joseph's and St. Peter's at Racecourse Ground on 30th June at 6 p.m. Live and exclusive on Dialogue Television channel number 118, Dialogue TV Go, MyTV, ThePapare.com, Milo Sri Lanka Facebook page.
And where down we go, where down we go,
Hello and good evening. Welcome to the President's Trophy Finals. And if you're joining us on Dialogue, it's of course channel 118 and on MyTV and across the globe on www.thepapare.com. It's the big one, the Milo Knockout President's Trophy Finals. St. Joseph's College defending champions taking on their arch rivals St. Peter's College. And with me, I got two interesting gentlemen here to talk about. Right, so right now we got St. Joseph's College taking on St. Peter's College, and it's the Milo President's Trophy Knockout. Like I said, a lot of things going on in this game. Both teams are equally good and equally matched. However, St. Peter's have had the edge. So I'm sorry, St. Joseph's had the edge over St. Peter's in this season. Now, the question that everybody will ask is, what's going on and how will this one happen? Yes. Welcome back. Live TV at its best. And just before going into anything, I have to introduce you to our guests right now. And we are at the Milo President's Trophy Knockout, St. Joseph's versus St. Peter's. And from St. Joseph's College, the defending champions, I have with me Mr. Aravind Gambage, former chairman of the St. Joseph's College Rugby Advisory Committee. And he also played for St. Joseph's College in 91-92. Good morning, and how's it going, Aravind?
Good evening.
There you go. Just checking whether you're in. All good. So Aravind, now St. Joseph's College, like I said, have had the edge over St. Peter's College. And they're coming into this game defending champions. A lot of positives going on for them. How do you think they would be preparing for this game? And what do you think the dressing room would be saying to their players right now?
Boys being very confident, throughout because since they are defending champions, they've been very confident. What's their plan is to contain the pit rights forwards and make sure the kickers being away from the post. Then we'll be okay on that.
You might want to take the mic up a little bit more for the audience to hear you clearly. Now, St. Joseph's College, like you were saying, coming in with an edge, and what is the strength here? The forwards?
It's a well balanced side. We have strengths are like it's equal. We have a good set of forwards, well as a good set of three quarters. But our strength is more towards three quarters, but we have a balanced side as well.
And of course, your rival next to you is Mr. Fazal Mohammed, Pete Wright, and he also representing the school in 1983. Is currently the chairman of the St. Peter's Rugby Foundation. Welcome and good evening.
Thank you and good evening.
Now, our friend here, Aravind, says that St. Joseph's College have got a very well-balanced side and there is no particular scene where they would be weak in. Now, St. Peter's College might be coming with a chip on their shoulder against St. Joseph's College.
Quite a different game today.
So St. Peter's College definitely looking to have a different game plan, and they're cooking something up. St. Joseph's College, I'm sure, would also be prepared for an onslaught, knowing what St. Peter's College did against Wesley College in that semi-final. St. Joseph's would be aware of this, right? And what do you think they would mainly focus on here?
Mainly it's the forwards play. I think St. Peter, their strength is more towards forwards. So what we need to is contain the forwards there, then and go from there itself.
Fazal, what do you think would be the game plan to contain the Josephians?
Well, again, like I said earlier, St. Joseph's are very strong backline and very entertaining backline, I must say. So the strength is obviously the backline. So it's up to St. Peter's players to get their first up tackles right, catch them behind their gain line, and put the pressure on them. And then I think the game is going to be very interesting.
Thank you very much. Now that there you heard it from the gentleman itself, and now we're going to go in to see what the weather is like. It's quite hot outside and it's quite humid, but let's wait to see what the experts have to say. So over to you on the weather. All right, so we're going to talk about the weather. It's 28 degrees out there and thunderstorms are expected, and with a minimum wind speed of 11 kilometers per hour. That's pretty decent actually. That's good to have that sort of wind speed in a game like this. A bit overcast, a bit cloudy.
Yeah, I think it's a good weather. I hope the rain stays away and will be entertaining 70 minutes of rugby will be witnessed today.
It's going to be quite humid actually. It's 82%, which means you're going to have the boys sweating a lot. So lots of hydrations will have to come in there.
Yeah, you're right, but I think the humidity level should improve towards later part of the evening. And I'm sure the boys have been playing at 4 o'clock in the evening, so playing at 6:30 in the evening should not be a big problem.
All right, so now let's take a look at what it's been like for the boys to make it to the finals. Let's go into St. Joseph's College, their road to the finals, and let's see how amazingly they've played. Now that's St. Joseph's right there. Walk us through this, Arvinda.
That's Gamon Chetia scoring his first try. Then that's Udisha, our number 9, scoring the first try with Malideva.
Gamon Chetia has been quite a star for St. Joseph's College this year. He's done a lot of work, and I think he's just made sure that he's taken the team through, and he's taken a lot of responsibility on his shoulders as well.
Yeah, even though from his offense, I think he had done great in defense as well. More than he has scored more number of tries in the league. But I feel his best weapon is his defense, because he covers a lot in the play area.
Fantastic. And St. Joseph's College also have relied a lot on speed and agility, and that's you can clearly see in this graphic right here right now. They're very fast, they're very agile, and they keep attacking, and that's one thing that has been a really good thing for the squad overall.
Yeah. The forwards been, once they go into the 20s and they're really hungry to score,
And there you have it. There you have that agility coming in against.
That's Tiraka Santush scoring against Kingswood.
Yep. Fantastic play. And right throughout, they've had very good hands. They've always worked as a very good team. And there you go again. Like I said, good hands. And the agility coming in once again. They've been very strong.
Yeah, that's Imesh Desanaga almost scoring. Then again, that's KD Kavinda. He's been a revelation for Jose this year. He's scored almost similar as Gamunu Chetia. And good finisher as well.
He's a good finisher. And that is what St. Peter's will have to be aware of, because St. Joseph's College have had some good finishers in this season. And fantastic stuff. So that's the road to their final. And now let's quickly have a look at St. Peter's on their road to the final and how they made it here so far. Fazal, you want to run us through this?
Yeah, the first up, I think we played against one of another Saint school. It was St. Anthony's College from Kandy. But it was a very good game that day. I think Vimala Das, who captained the game that day, controlled the game very well. So he showed a lot of skill, a lot of good maturity in marshalling the troops and getting the best out of them. And that was Shian Patirana scoring a try.
And the Peterites put a lot of pressure on that game. They played with a plan, and you could see that. In this game, you can definitely see how well the plan came into action, like you said, through their action, to the active thinking, and they moved forward. Now, this is where the St. Peter's College have actually matured, I think, this time around, because they've come with a very strict discipline.
Yes, St. Peter's did one of the major changes here was moving the changes in the centers with Dilshan Madhushank coming in as a number 13 and Rukshan moving to number 12 and moving Sunera to the 7. That gave a lot of flexibility in the side and brought in a lot of more flair in the backs that was seen in the game. And you can see Abdullah Faiz, who was a revelation this year, scoring a try in close quarters. It's going to be very dangerous close up.
Absolutely. And this is, of course, the big one. A massive game for St. Peter's. Would have given them a lot of confidence to beat Wesley College, especially after Wesley beat Isipatana into this game. So St. Peter's coming with a big win. That's where I think things are going to matter the most for the team.
Yeah, it was one of the good signs which came out of that game was Kenneth Vimala Das's place kicking. He was I think he was 100% success. He had a success rate.
Yeah.
He was in the shadows of Shian Liana Patirana. But today, that day against Wesley, he took up the kicking duties and he came off his flying colors.
And both the games, 39-12 and 23-13 is what St. Peter's did in terms of knocking down their opponents. So it's a very good showing, a very strong showing. That shows the maturity the squad has brought into this.
Yes, I think after two successful defeats in the league against St. Joseph and Royal, it was very important to get the boys' confidence level up, and winning against St. Anthony's in a convincing manner and following up with Wesley, I think boosted the confidence of the boys.
Meanwhile, Malia, they were losing 45-17 against St. Joseph's, and Kingswood 23-10. Not a bad showing at all for the defending champions.
Yeah, even though Malidev came from lower divisions, I mean, they had a big set of forwards. That's we had to contain them for the first 15 to 20 minutes. Then the second half, with our three quarters, we managed to score more tries.
And now with that, we also have a quick graphic that we need to look at in terms of what has happened, the draws. If we could have that, and then we can just talk a little bit more on the story over there. Right, so this is how it all happened. St. Joseph's College playing Malia Deva in their first game, and Kingswood College playing Trinity College, and Wesley versus Isipatana, and St. Peter's versus St. Anthony's. Of course, the first game, we all know the result over there. And then we had the four winners over there, St. Joseph's, Kingswood, Wesley versus St. Peter's. St. Joseph's College then now have come to the finals, taking on their arch rival, St. Peter's College. Right, so now there's a lot of history between the two of you, right? Be it cricket, be it rugby, be it anything, a Peterite and a Josephian in the same room means a brawl is on the way, either verbally or physically. But I'm sure it's not that bad. But what does this mean for each school to actually win this game with immense bragging rights?
I think at the moment St. Joseph's has the bragging rights because they've beaten St. Peter's in the league. So St. Peter's wants to get it back, and also being a brother school of St. Joseph's. We've always been told as being the little brother of the St. Joseph. The little brother wants to always get one up on the big brother. So this is what it's going to be.
So Aravind, what's the story going to be here?
Being a brother school, still when it comes to a big match, the boys give them 100%. Even though now since late now we are being with the top schools, but when we had weaker sides also, but when it comes to the big match, we give 100%, and boys always wants to win against tough Peterite sides.
It's always a good thing to see that the game is played in the higher spirit, and the game is played in good spirits. That's one thing that St. Joseph's and St. Peter's have both done this year, is that they've played the game with the highest integrity. And that's something that we have to be proud of, and we have to be thankful for, because the schools have maintained that level of professionalism in the sport. How does that feel to know that your teams have had less drama this season in comparison to the other teams, Aravinda?
Yes, before the season, and we had a chat with the committee, well as the coaching staff and school admin. We wanted to have, to maintain good discipline, in compared to this season, and we only had about, say, unfortunate one red card in the Peters game. Other than that, and we haven't had many issues with discipline. We always wanted to maintain discipline and have lesser penalties and offences on.
Fazal, you'd like to weigh in on that one?
Yeah, I think the game, rugby is a game. I think the St. Peter's have always been taught is to play the game hard, but play the game clean and play the game fair. You respect your opponent, you give 100% on the field, and you get the best results. And at the end of the day, it's what it is. It's a game anyway. So the boys make friends, and they need to move on.
Hakuna Matata, it's just a game. Go out there, enjoy yourself, go home, have a good time, and at the end of the day, you go home good friends. And that's, I think, exactly what these guys have been doing. And, kudos to both the organizations for bringing the spirit of the game. And Milo also have always said, to respect the game and play to the spirit of the game. That's something very important. And in this day and age, I think all schools, rugby has gotten very competitive. And with all that going on, we have captains who come under immense pressure, and the captains are the ones who knows and who goes through a lot along with the team. Now, talking to the captains, we have Roscoe downstairs, and he's got a piece each with the coaches and the captains rather, and let's see what they have to say about this big match.
Thank you, Sham. I have the two captains with me. Samisha Virangana, it's first the Josephian skipper for today's game. What has the preparation been, Samisha?
So we have a good preparation. We worked so hard to come to final. I think we are prepared very well for the final.
Yes, and you guys were the defending champions last year, beating Isipatana. What sort of pressure do you have ahead of this final?
It's not a big pressure, but we have to defend our championship. So I think we have to play well today's game.
Yes, you all were very good in the league as well. You finished second, but what expectation do you have ahead of this big final today?
I think our main target to be the champs. So I think we have a good plan and we are stick to the plan. I think we can win this game.
Yes, thank you, Samish, and all the best for the game.
Thank you.
So now I have Kenneth Vimaladasa, the P-Ride skipper. He will be leading the boys from Bambalapitia today. And you guys fell short in the league, finished third place. And what has the journey been in the knockout so far?
Well, because of the loss, we actually we could not prepare well. So all what we did was the coaches were behind us. So because of the coaches, we just like to thank them. And because of them, up to now, we've been strong. But with our old boys as well, we've been preparing quite well all.
Yes, and it has been a very short tournament as well. What has the preparation been ahead of this final?
Again, I would like to just thank our coaches and our old boys and mostly for the director, because if not for their support, we wouldn't have been here. And for our boys, if not for the team, because of them, we come up to the final. So because of their hard work and their training, so just want to thank them, and yeah.
Yes, so the P-Ride last win came in back in 2010. So what are your thoughts and your final say for the fans and everyone out there before this big game?
We just want to bring what was lost, bring back the glory, and make all our P-Rides proud all over the world, and make our parents and our families and our coaches proud.
Thank you, Kenneth, and all the best for the final. It's back to you up in the studio, Sham.
Thank you, Roscoe, and that was the two captains having their say on what's going on today, and a lot at stake. Now, as you know, like I said, you guys have had a massive rivalry, and throughout, be it any format, right? How does it feel? What is the plan now? Would the pressure be more or would it be less, Aravinda, going into this, knowing that you're playing against your arch rival here?
Yeah, arch rivals, well as being defending champions, definitely the pressure is on us. You know, we managed to beat the St. Peters in the league, but it was a very close encounter. Because we had to play in difficult conditions, and we managed with our defense. We managed to get it through. But only thing, it's a different ball game today, and we are playing under lights, well as in different conditions. So it's going to be a very open rugby. But we had to defense. We had to defense with. We had to make sure that we defense their forwards and move on from there.
Fazal, playing under lights. How does this change things for both sides?
It does make a big change, because the first time the boys are coming out on the light, so it's a different atmosphere with the high ball is going to be a crucial factor in this game. But again, but you need to play what is up in front of you, and I think the boys are up for the challenge.
Right, we're going to quickly have a look at what happened between St. Joseph's and St. Peters in the league match. St. Joseph's College versus St. Peters, they played, and the game, of course, going in favor of St. Joseph's, which is an amazing game. Right here we have that that was played, and again, I think St. Peters started off well, but St. Joseph's came back and they put so much pressure on the ball. There were opportunities that St. Peters could have scored, but the Josephians, again, they just came back, they made sure that they stopped those opportunities and capitalized on putting the pressure on.
Yeah, actually, we managed to score 2 early tries during the first half. You know, with those 2 tries only, we managed to secure a win. Because we lost of.
So Fazal, now he said that they scored 2 early tries and then they were able to put that pressure. St. Peters will be aware of this. They would want to put the brakes on the St. Joseph's.
That's correct. I think, quite rightly he said, 2 early tries, put St. Peters on the back foot, but St. Peters College fought back and got a try in the first half itself. But unfortunately, that particular game, St. Joseph had a superb defensive effort by the 14 boys on the field, which was, I think, the turning point of that game.
What do you think went wrong for the Petes, though? They had two very good opportunities, and there was also a very loose pass that went on.
Well, I think the decision making was costly. The conditions, but we can't blame the conditions. Conditions was same for the both teams, but there was a try-saving tackle by the Josephian fullback, and I think again I have to give credit to the Josephian defense.
I guess so, and now St. Peter's College have a chance to, in fact, rectify that error, and St. Joseph's have a chance to, in fact, make sure they don't rectify that error. Right. So we've been talking about what's been happening between the two teams, and we also have a scenario where we just want to check out what the past winners have looked like for St. Peter's, or rather for the Milo President's Trophy, and. If you can have a look at that graphic, then we can go into that and further discuss. There you go. 2007 to 2017, 10 years. We have at St. Peter's College winning 4 of those. I think include they also won 2006.
That's right. We have 3 years in a row, 2006, 7 and 8. St. Peter's were winners of the Milo Knockout President Trophy Championship. And again in 2010, which was not a draw.
So it's
such,
not unfamiliar territory. It's not unfamiliar territory at all. That you've been here before, you know exactly what to do. Now, St. Joseph's College, however, are the defending champions, and they've had a fantastic year so far. And here we are once again, Aravinda. How important is it for St. Joseph's to now go and take away the opportunity for St. Peter's College to come on top here?
Yeah, we need to start, say, it's a 70-minute game. Now, those days we used to play in 80-minute game. 70 minutes is very crucial. We had to, keep, now we, in the semi-final, I think we lost, earlier we lost one player for a yellow card. And then we had to play with 14 for about 10 minutes. I think this semi-final, I think if we remain with 15 players for the 70 minutes and we score early, and I think we should be able to go through.
All right, now before going into it all, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here on the show. It's been an honor, and it's been quite interesting talking to you. Before moving into anything, I need to know final thoughts and predictions. Let's go with the defending champions. What are your final thoughts and your predictions on this game?
We should be able to pull it through. The conditions looks very good for our threes to run around. I think we should pull it through.
Should be able to pull it through. St. Peter's.
Oh, well, to be honest, it's going to be too close to call. I'm hoping St. Peter's will bring their A game today and cut out the mistakes, and we hopefully will win this one.
So each team obviously supporting themselves and obviously rooting for their team. Now the story here is that I predict the winner of this game wouldn't really matter to these two gentlemen, because after this they're going to be going out having a good time into the night. Thank you very much. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back we'll have another gentleman having a discussion with us.
The choices that I have made in my life have made me the man I am today, and that's why my choice is Milo.
Milo is made with fresh milk that is brought to the factory and blended with the golden goodness of malt and cocoa from the finest beans to give Milo that great chocolatey malt taste. As Milo is all about nutrition, health and wellness, every pack of Milo contains less than 2 teaspoons of sucrose, which is added sugar less than 5%.
Milo fuels my winning spirit.
මේ දන්නවද?
මොකද්ද?
ඉස්සර කැප්ටන් කරලා.
දන්නවා.
මේ අතුසිංහ ලංකාවට නෝට්.
දන්නවා.
කේන් ඩික්සන් දන්නවා.
දන්නවා. දන්නවා.
ඊයේ රග්බි මැච් එක. එතකොට සුරංග ලක්මල් කියපු දේ දන්නේ නැහැ නේද? ඕකනේ කියන්නේ පපරෙත් එක ගියා නම් ඔහොම ස්ටක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
I start each day with a dream to win. Training, working hard, rain. How strong the other team is, nothing can stop me.
Nourishing Milo with its unique combination of chocolate, malted barley and B vitamins, together with the goodness of milk, brings out the winner in you. Milo, fueling the winning spirit.
Nestle, good food, good life.
The pull of the crowd, the overpowering of a tackle, the thrill of scoring, the feeling nothing compares with. Milo President's Trophy Finals between St. Joseph's and St. Peter's at Racecourse Ground on 30th June at 6 p.m. Live and exclusive on Dialogue Television channel number 118, Dialogue TV Go, MyTV, ThePapare.com, Milo Sri Lanka Facebook page.
And where down we go.
Welcome back to the pre-game show, and of course I've got a very interesting gentleman with me, a very important gentleman too. He is the senior brand manager for Milo, and he goes by the name Muhammad Ali. Welcome back to the show. It's good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Right, Muhammad, rather, what do I refer to you as, Muhammad or Ali?
Ali is fine, yeah.
Ali.
All right.
All right, Ali. So Milo has been a major part of the whole President's Trophy, and they've been a massive supporter of the game as well. Tell me a bit about the journey here.
Right, so our journey spans well over 3 decades in Sri Lanka. As most of you all are aware, we are a well-rooted brand in Sri Lanka. We're deeply rooted, and we've been associated with grassroots sports for a very long time. In the same front, 26 years ago, we partnered with the school's Rugby Football Association and partnered with the President's Trophy. So today we are here at the 26th edition and the finale today, and nothing short of being a thrilling encounter. So we're minutes away from the kickoff. And indeed, we're excited to be part of this encounter once again.
It doesn't get any better than this, doesn't it? We got a beautifully lit ground, a fantastic atmosphere, lots of supporters and fans, and of course Milo's branding all over. Not just the branding aspect though. Milo has been with the sport for 25 years.
Correct.
And that's a lot of commitment. And Milo has also fortified the energy, not only outside the field but also inside the field, and also brought about that the necessity to play the game at the highest level. So what do you think Milo's next goal here would be?
Right, so like we said, the aim of we getting into the sport is to nourish the ambitions of kids. We want to inculcate a healthy active lifestyle amongst the younger generation through the participation in sports and team activities. It is that same front we have ventured into rugby, and we have seen the sport evolve by leaps and bounds over the years. And today it's arguably one of the biggest crowd pullers and also a key feature in the school's sporting calendar. So we, going forward, will also like to see increased number of players. So this kind of a mega tournament or finale of this nature should serve as an of inspiration to the younger generation, and also of aspirational value to the younger generation, where they would endeavor to get into the sport, and they'll be really inspired to be taking part in the sport and follow their big brothers and get into the big league someday. So the whole idea is to see more people getting into the sport, more people enjoying the game, more people enjoying a healthy, active lifestyle is what Milo's motive has been always.
Inspiring to aspire, that's what Milo does.
That's what you can say that.
Right, so this year's concept, respect the game we love.
Right.
It's very timely and a very important message that you're giving out there. Tell us about the thoughts behind that and the importance of this whole thing.
So, as you're aware, we are a long-standing fan of the sport. We have been a sponsor, we have been a patron, we've been supporting the school's Rugby Football Association for a very long time. And the teams battle it out at the middle, and it's highly competitive and intense sport. But what we also have to bear in mind is a lot of stakeholders involved.
Right.
We as sponsors, coaches, referees, the schools association, the sports ministry, the referees, school principal, teachers, all play a part in making the game a reality. So unfortunately, we have seen instances where the continuity of the game has been challenged. We ourselves as sponsors have experienced on a few occasions. So we feel it's timely that we rallied all stakeholders around the game to give voice to this cause. So we feel it's timely in the sense that we should respect the glorious traditions of this game, and the game itself is deeply rooted in respect as a game. So we see respect for the teams, the opponents, and we all should be able to enjoy a good game of rugby and also uphold the reasons why people got into the game in the first place. So that's why we have rolled out this initiative called Respect the Game We Love, and we believe that this is going to be a first step. This cannot be done overnight, but it's going to create some awareness. And we invite the passionate sporting community out there in Sri Lanka to join hands with us to create broad awareness on this, and also so that we make the game of rugby a reality for this generation as well as the next.
I think that's actually a very strong message that you set out there, and very simple though. Respect the game we love. Yet it has so much meaning behind it.
Correct.
And like you very rightfully said, you want to see the numbers increase. The numbers have increased over the years, and it's only getting better. And thanks to Milo, we've also been able to unearth a lot of hidden talent, not only in Colombo but out of Colombo.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the belief in the game and the respect in the game has shown,
no doubt,
even beyond.
That's right. So we as Milo would remain committed to powering grassroots sports in Sri Lanka for many more generations to come, and we endeavor to make the winning spirit a reality for every aspiring Sri Lankan student. So it's going to be a thrilling encounter, and may the best team carry the trophy today. And all the best for both the teams. And of course, thank you, ThePapare, for partnering us in this journey as well.
As always, thank you very much for being a part of the President's Trophy. And thank you very much to Milo and everybody else watching there. We're about to go live to get some action. And on that note, I actually have to conclude the pre-game show. And thank you very much for everybody who's been on show. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dinuk Bhaskaran at the commentary box. Enjoy the game.
Thank you, Sham. Very good evening. Welcome to our live coverage from the racecourse. It's a picturesque stadium here in Colombo. The lights have come on for the final of the Milo Knockouts tournament. And what a fixture we have once again. It's St. Joseph's College versus St. Peter's. The crowd is nicely building up here at the racecourse International Rugby Stadium. And it was a thrilling 2 weeks of Milo Knockouts rugby tournament. We can see the Josephian crowd who have almost filled half of the stadium, along with the Peterites. And joining me on the commentary box today, this evening, is Nanjo Peets again. On to my right is Abdullah Yusuf and Paul Toya, both commentators today. Good evening, gentlemen.
Sir, good evening, Dinuk.
Yeah, it's the Milo Trophy that you can see with both captains. This is what they want at the end of the 70 minutes today. And they have come through a tough season after the league, and managed to, the second and third team in the league have managed to come on top in the end.
Yes, both teams I think have performed consistently well. I think well-deserved finalists for this knockout tournament. Just over the last 3 or 4 encounters from 2015 onwards, I think St. Joseph's have managed to emerge victorious after a prolonged period of 15 years, as we have a look at the starting lineup.
Prop Tiraka Santush, Jesham Tangaya and Siobhan Gregory will complete the front row for St. Joseph's today in this final. And it looks like a heavy front row with 200 kilograms in that. Navin De Silva and Vishwa Pereira, the second row today for St. Joseph's College. And 5'10" and 5'8" in the schoolboy lineup is very, very interesting to see how they will match up against the Peter second. Here's the third row, Shehan Kalniagoda, Tarindu D. Alves, who has been very good for St. Joseph this season, and Cheka Jawadana in the number 24 jersey for St. Joseph's College. Moving on to the halves, Russian Gunavardhana, the experienced Russian Gunavardhana, along with Santush Algama at 9 and 10. This is where it will be very interesting today how they will manage to distribute the ball out to the backs. So Russian Gunawardena needs to play a key part for his star-stunned backline of St. Joseph. Samisha Viranga, the skipper, and Sean Akilar, another star in that number 13. Number 13 plays, of course, is wearing the number 14 jersey today with a weight of 74 kilos in the center field. Samisha Viranga looking strong. Keshan Kavin, the Gamunu Chethi, the playmaker, will be at fullback, and Tarindu Maduranga, who came in mid-season for St. Joseph's College in that wing, and it's going to be a cracking lineup, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. I think the third row especially had a big game against in the semi-finals against Kingswood. So especially Tarindu Alvis, I think a lot will be depend on them. And also it's interesting that they have got a new center combination for this final as well.
St. Peter's, Abdullah Faiz, Julian Charles, who has done a lot of work for St. Peter's this season, and Javindu Pereira in that front row. Just that 100 kilogram, just one player in that front row against the two. But they have a balanced front row. Here's Lankesh Pereira, 6 foot, and Johan Fernando, another 6 footer. Both of them taller than the opposition, and that will be very interesting to see how they will match up in the lineups for St. Peter's College. And they have the back row, Nizran Nilar, who has been a star player for St. Peter's College, Bilal Hilmi at number 8, and Sonira Fernando, another flanker. Will be very interesting to see how they will have a lineup against the mobile Josephian third row. As we said before, this is where the match will be won or lost. How fast Jason Karunaratna will be against Russian Gunawardena, and Kenneth Vimaladasa, to his distribution of the backs. Not only the backs, he needs to control this game at the number 10 position. This will be very crucial, how he kicks and plays the territorial game against this St. Joseph's team. Dilshan Madhushankar and Rukshan Madhushankar in the centers for St. Peter's College. It's going to be very interesting as well. And then the last line of defense, Diane Fernando, Shehan Liana Patirana. How crucial he's going to be today, along with Shenol Silva. Shehan Liana Patirana didn't take any of those kicks in that previous game against St. Joseph's College. Today, any 3 points on offer, the Pete Rice will hope he'll go for the boot.
Yeah, that's right. Look, St. Peter's have had a great season this year, scoring a lot of points.
Damian Pereira, Ganegoda, Nihan Peranga, Vihanga Pereira, Udesha Pereira, Imesh Disanayaka, Sudaraka Desafria, Dulanjana Piatisha, the shocking call in that replacement for St. Joseph's College, and Johan Anjana completes the Josephians replacement. Senura Fernando, Johan Fernando, Mega Dias, Javid Zaruk, Shentika Fernando, Dilusha Rajendra, Ashela Ranasingha, Dilshan Madhushan, Makasau, the experienced in the St. Peter's bench, and Tenuka Nana Kada. So both teams having an experienced bench, and it'll be very interesting to see in that last 10 to 12 minutes how they will come up.
Yeah, look, the last 10 to 12 minutes is will be an interesting fact to watch, just because the way the ground's set up and the way the conditions are. Generally at this ground, there's a prevailing wind from left to right as we're looking, or from the grandstand from right to left, and the team that finishes with the wind behind their back normally prevails in these games.
Yeah, that's right. And I think both these teams, they had a very close encounter during the league stage, a game that could have gone either way. And just St. Joseph's just managing to nick it. I think it was a wonderful cover tackle by Gamunu Chethi at the end, when I think Kenneth Vimaladasa was just over the line, that just managed to seal that game in favor of the Josephians. Just coming back to history, the recent history, I think from over a 15-year period, St. Peter's just dominated this encounter between two schools. But I think from 2015 onwards, St. Joseph's have just made a certain revival, and they have managed to turn this encounter around, and they won the last 3 encounters. So St. Peter's, I think, will be desperately wanting to make it the 4th time lucky from their point of view, and what a great occasion for them to do it in a knockout final.
Yeah, Paul, you've been played both these teams in the league and the knockout stage, and how hard was that too?
Well, both coaches are wily operators. They know exactly what they're doing, and they're difficult to play, that's for sure. As far as playing St. Peter's are concerned, they've got a really big forward pack, and they know how to use it really well. So that's a problem when you play against them. And then they've got their 9-10 combination for St. Peter's. They dominate a game. With St. Joseph's, there's an all-round attacking game that you've got to try and cover off. But for me, I think the best way to play against both of these teams is hold on to the ball. The best form of defence will be to hold the ball and attack.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I think another key important factor of both these teams, which stands them out from the rest, and probably with Royal, is the fact that they've got a good all-round game. Their forwards as well as their three-quarters are extremely competent. And I think that's what distinguished the top three teams in this year's rugby season compared to the others. I'm sure Paul will agree with me. Most of the other teams, it's either their three-quarters are exceptionally good while they have a decent forward pack. But all these teams, these two teams as well as Royal, I think their forwards and three-quarters are equally good. And I think that's what separates them from the rest of the pack. So overall, I think considering the strength of both these teams, the ability to play running rugby, I think we are in for an entertaining game, because the racecourse grounds does offer an opportunity for teams who are willing to run, to keep possession, build up phases, always will definitely reap the awards.
Few minutes before kickoff, and we'll go for some actions at the ground, and we'll be back after for the kickoff of the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, Milo is very happy to be part and parcel of this experience, and we certainly hope the message would be delivered and carried to each and every one here. So much to play for, so much of preparations, and so much to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we welcome the two teams together with the match officials onto the field. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready now to invite our distinguished invitees to be introduced to the match officials and the two teams. Our chief guest for the occasion, Vice Admiral Sirimevan Ranasinghe, Commander, Sri Lanka Navy. Our guest of honor, Mrs. Shivani Hegde, Managing Director, Nestle Lanka. We would also welcome the President of the Sri Lanka Schools Rugby Football Association, Mr. Ranjit Chandrasekara. Mr. Norman Kannangara, Vice President Beverages, Nestle Lanka. Mr. Bandula Ekodage, Vice President Corporate Affairs, Nestle Lanka. Together with the Secretary of the Sri Lanka Schools Rugby Football Association, Mr. Nirodha Vijayarama. They will first meet St. Peter's College, Captain Kenneth Vimaladasa, Head Coach Sanath Martis, Teacher in Charge Sunil Aponso, Prefect of Games and Sports Coordinator Reverend Father Tilina Pathum, Rector Reverend Father Trevor Martin. As you recall, ladies and gentlemen, St. Peter's have been former champions of Milo Schools Knockout Rugby. The match officials today, Match Commissioner Oliver Vijayvansa, Referee Praneeth Ranga, First Assistant Referee Akhil Jamaldeen, Second Assistant Referee Isanka Abekon, Asiri Tevarapperuma, Haji Karim and Harshana Vijayveera will be assisting them. CMO Nizam Jamaldeen, TMO Anil Jayasinghe. Ladies and gentlemen, St. Joseph's College are the defending champions. Captain Samisha Virangana, Head Coach Nilufa Ibrahim, Teacher in Charge Prasanta Ranavira, Prefect of Games Reverend Father Milan Bernard, Rector Reverend Father Travis Gabriel. We would thank the distinguished invitees. We would thank the distinguished invitees for being involved in the introduction to the two teams in the final and the match officials. It has been a great opportunity for all of us to enjoy this wonderful game. There has been so much preparations pre-season, having gone through a hectic league rugby season and an enthralling knockout rugby competition. We have now come to this finale. It's one of the best facilities in the country for rugby football. And I'm very happy that two teams who have a great tradition, a historic tradition, have qualified to be in this final. Never in the history of Milo Schools knockout rugby have these two teams qualified to meet each other. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, can we give them a round of applause? Thank you. As we savor the occasion, Milo has taken it upon themselves to give this game a new dimension. It's a time for us to reflect, it's a time for us to enjoy, it's a time for us to experience the rugby song.
When we stand together for the spirit of the game, let's get united for our passion. Let's kick and try as one for this game we love. We will play harder. We will run faster. Just following the rules. It takes more to smile when you lose. Let's pick each other up when we fall down. Learn through this game how to become great. Jaya, Parajaya, Hamwell. Ekwi, Atinatan, Allah. My team will play harder. We will run faster. We will go further. If we respect the game we love, we will play harder. We will run faster. We will go further. If we respect the game we love.
Thank you very much. Milo had the initiative in mind, and the respect for the game was their motto. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, rugby enthusiasts and sports lovers, we kindly request you to rise and help us with this initiative for the sake of the game. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please rise? Thank you very much. Take the boards to your hands. Let us show respect. I repeat, please rise. Thank you very much. Take the boards to your hand and let us show respect. Now, in honor of this glorious game, a glamorous game, let us all get ready. We are going to make history in Sri Lankan schools rugby. Everybody, please stand up everywhere. Have the boards in your hands. Can I have your attention? Are we ready? I can't hear you. Are we ready? Thank you very much. On my left, are you ready? On my right, are you ready? Thank you very much. Let us give it for the glorious traditions of this game. Let us give it for the schools rugby in Sri Lanka. For us, for the game, for the generation, for this one, and for the generations to follow. Let us scream your hearts out. Let us scream your heart out. Can we have respect the game we love? Once more, respect the game we love. Once again, respect the game we love. Ladies and gentlemen, one last time, respect the game we love. Thank you very much for your participation. It was an initiative on the part of Milo with the fraternity really happening. The important aspect is the game. As I mentioned earlier, a battle of the saints in schools knockout rugby for the first time. Please rise, ladies and gentlemen. The college anthems coming up now, starting with the anthem of St. Joseph's College. Thank you very much. The school anthem of St. Peter's College.
Lend a heart and lend a hand.
Thank you very much. We thank everybody for being involved in the very colorful and very, very emotional opening ceremony. Just to remind you that the official match ball for the school's Rugby Knockout Championship 2018 has been Rhino, sponsored by A-Goal International. This game, which is building up to one of the biggest sporting events, has been a tremendous success and much look forward to one. Live and exclusive on Dialogue Television Channel 118, Dialogue TV Go app, MyTV, ThePapare.com and the Milo Sri Lanka Facebook page. Millions will watch the action. St. Joseph's and St. Peter's, we wish you all the best on behalf of...
Welcome back, and much deserved warm-up for the players because they've been staying there for a very long time. And for the national, the school anthems are done and dusted. A bit of warm-up has been happening here. And we have the match officials today. Hasanta Veranga, the main referee, he'll have total control of this game, and he'll have to make sure that this game flows. Ishanka Bekon and Akil Jamaldin, the assistant referees, and the experienced Anil Jazz Singh are the television match official for today. Both teams were warming up just prior to kick-off, Paul.
Yeah, that's right. Look, the adrenaline will be flowing as it is. They'll be loving, enjoying the moment of being in the final and standing there and singing the school song. But now they're down to business, and so what you're trying to get them to do now is just focus on what has to happen next. And right now they're just focusing on probably focusing on exactly what they're going to do in the first 5 minutes. They'll already have a game plan. It looks like St. Joseph's are going to be running with the wind in the first half. So that means St. Peter's will play a game plan that'll say we'll want to slow the ball down. We want to give St. Joseph's the smallest amount of opportunities with the ball, with the wind, and try and get to half-time without conceding too many points. That's just the way it is here at this ground.
Yeah, St. Joseph's playing with the wind, you said, and that's where 90% of the tries are scored at the racecourse, where it happened today. When the Chiefs played the Highlanders in Suva, 90% tries were scored on one side of the park. Will it happen again today? It'll be interesting to see. Coach Nilufer Ibrahim, the St. Joseph's defending knockout champions, and he'll have everything to do today, along with Walpola, the forwards coach, as both teams lined up. And we're all set for the Milo Knockouts 2018. St. Joseph's defending this title, Abdullah, and how hard is it to defend the title?
Yes, well, they shouldn't think of it along that lines. Just go out, and they made it to the second consecutive final. So should look at it from that point of view. Just go out and play the normal game. So we had a look at both the coaches. That's St. Peter's coach, Sanat Martis. Sure, we'll want to get the league back, the knockout rather, back, which they last won in 2008. But they'll face an uphill task against St. Joseph's. As we mentioned before the anthems and the introductions, both teams are very well all-round teams. Good forward packs, good mobile forward packs, speedy set of three quarters. And you just think that the forwards that are able to give their three quarters good quality possession, good front football will most likely try and dominate. So I think the instructions from both coaches will be very clear. Possession is going to be a crucial part in this final, and whoever can control the possession, I'm sure will go a long way in emerging victorious.
Yeah, let's see what happens there, as we are almost ready for kickoff with Samisha Viranga to kick off for St. Joseph's. For those who don't know, the neutral, it's St. Joseph's in blue and white. Will be playing from left to right on your screen. And St. Peter's will be playing from right to left on screen in white, blue and gold.
Captain, number 3.
As the Milo Knockouts for 2018, the final 15th game for the school season will kick off now, as referee Viranga blows the whistle, and Samisha Viranga puts this deep inside the 22 straight away, and taken back has ample time, but the kick is not that good. for St. Peter's College. He is Chetia, the danger man, Gamunu Chetia, going into contact, playing at fullback today. Russian Gunawardana now gives it to Tarindu Dialvis, strong ball carrier for St. Joseph's. Now the ball spun out once again as Tarindu Maduranga taking the ball into contact. St. Joseph's trying to set up this beautifully, trying to build up paces as they move forward, using their forwards in midfield. Russian once again gives it to Gregory, who takes the ball into contact. Ball comes out wide once again. Here's Samisha. Samisha steps off one, tries to break the line there. No way through that for Samisha. St. Joseph's once again to Tiraka Santush taking the ball into contact. Here's the Josephians once again on the 22-meter mark now. Rush in. And that will be a penalty for St. Joseph's College. Early opportunity.
Yes, I was just telling how well the Peters defensive line was structured. They didn't overindulge themselves, and just that one moment of lapse has given an opportunity for St. Joseph's to go ahead in this game.
Yeah, it was a shame, wasn't it? A little bit of ill discipline there. Just probably wasn't behind the last feet, I don't think. If we have another look at the replay, we might be able to see, but you've really got to let the halfback play the ball before you can come and you have to make sure you're behind the last feet. As you saw there with the kick from St. Peter's, the ball came out and they didn't find touch, but what I did notice is the really strong defensive line right across the field, stopping St. Joseph's moving the ball from one side to the other. I've seen them do that often in counter-attack. They move it all the way to the other side, and they often find space on that far side. St. Peter's aren't going to let them do that this time.
Yeah, that's right. And also just with regard to that clearance kick ball, again, you spoke about the wind. Now St. Peter's have got to keep in mind that they're playing against the wind. And Leon Patrian on that occasion tried to get a bit of height, and the ball just held up. As we have a look at this kick by Algama, and Algama has slotted it over. So St. Joseph's going to the lead. Algama takes off from where he left in that semi-final game. Had an excellent game against Kingswood, and he seemed to have bought his kicking boots on today as well.
Yeah, 22-meter kick right in front of the post, slots it in between, nice and clean. Santush Algama for St. Joseph's College.
And here we see, what I've liked about this bit here is the way that Joes are latching. See, they're just latching on, and the player's still driving forward, and it just gets them an extra metre and just clears those defenders that are coming in trying to slow the ball up. Was he behind the last feet? The referee said no, he wasn't.
Come back live. St. Peter's kicking off this time. And inside their own half, it goes to Algama. Algama putting the kick nice and clean, but straight into Jason Karunaratna, who leaves it behind and collects it in the end. Try to step off one. He's a dangerous player, Jason Karunaratna. And push back, driving back the Josephians. Peters managed to recover ball. Trying to create some ground for the kicker. Trying to run from their own 22 is St. Peter's College.
Stay back. Use it.
Picking and driving through, bringing ball outside the 22, and it'll be a penalty for St. Joseph's College. So another kicking opportunity within the kicking range of Santush Algama. Outside the 22, about 3 meters away to his right from where he kicked the first one.
Yeah, that's right. Wonderful work by Shehan Iranda. That was an area where St. Joseph's were very good last week against Kingswood as well. It was probably the difference between both teams, how good the third row was over the loose ball. And as we have a look at that again, Iranda, wonderful body position, a wide base, and managing to latch onto that ball and managing to draw that penalty. So it's an area where St. Joseph's are very strong, and it's important that St. Peter's just keep that in mind and commit players whenever there is a breakdown.
Yeah, it's a strange call, that one, though, because it looked like the St. Joe's player actually got the ball, so I don't know who was holding on to it there. The St. Joe's guy got it, grabbed it back. That really, for me, is the play on, where he just gets to turn the ball back, and then they keep playing because the contest was there, and the St. Joseph's player, he got the contest.
Second one in the space of 5 minutes for Algama. Algama puts this just too far to the left side of the post, so that'll stay for a 22-meter kickoff. And it's play on. It's a forward pass.
Well, it didn't go over the back line. It didn't. There's anyway. Did it go over the back line? We're not sure. We'll have to have another look. But he didn't touch the ball down, and the referee didn't think that it did go over the back line.
It'll be interesting replay to see that.
What was interesting just before that, though, was that as soon as St. Peter's had the ball, St. Joe's dropped 5 players back into the backfield. A lot of holes around the outside. There was a lot of space on the left and the right-hand side. At one point on the left-hand side, St. Joe's only had 2 forwards playing.
Bye. Set. Steady, both steady.
It was way before what happened there. Anyway, we are back for live action. As Tarinduri Alvis breaks out the number 8 to the left side of the scrum, and he scores the first try for St. Joseph's.
Nice little fake move there by the 8-9 move. The 9 pulls away and looks like they're going to go right. And then the number 8 just picks up and breaks off. Really, that's the blindside flanker's position. He's got to take that. Or else you have the... yeah, that's a blindside flanker. He's got to take that.
St. Peter's seem to be very tentative in these first few minutes, Paul. They've just got to keep in mind that they've got to play the game in St. Joseph's half as much as possible. They've been trying far too many things as we have a look again. And from that kind of distance, there's no stopping Tarindo Alves. Wonderful body position, and it was an absolute mismatch as well. As you said, the blindside flanker needed to have made that tackle at the very inception.
Yeah, look, there's certain roles and responsibilities that flankers have and halfbacks have around scrum time, and they've got to make sure they nail that. And that's what the focus has got to be on when they're scrummaging and when you're defending. You're 5 metres from your own try line. Nothing else is more important than getting off and nailing your man as soon as he steps off with the ball.
That's right, and Algama has slotted that conversion over, and St. Joseph's, with 7 minutes gone, are off to a flying start, 10 points to 0.
Yeah, try a conversion and a penalty. One penalty missed already. And St. Peter's kick off or restart once again through Kevin Vimaladasa. And St. Joseph's now.
24.
We spoke of how important territory is, and they have been clearing every time they get the ball from their own 22 to their huge boot of Santosh Algama. Now an opportunity for St. Peter's. The kicking back again to rush in Gunawardana, who looks for the outside to Gamanu Chetia. Chetia tries to step off one and go around.
Use it.
Here's rush in. As St. Peter's College now. Here's Jason Karunaratne. Need to make a correct decision. Puts the chip behind. St. Peter's College have managed to recover that kick and chase, but unfortunately there was a knock on by the Josephians. First knock on, I guess.
Yeah, look, so that's the kicking battle that we're going to be seeing. There's space out there. That's a huge ground, the racecourse ground, and with the prevailing wind going with St. Joseph's, you can see that both teams are just trying to play territory. You saw Jason there coming in for a little bit of heavy contact. Yeah, the ball's just knocked back there by St. Peter's. A forward coming through and getting onside has just knocked the ball.
Yellow ball.
And that causes the scrum. But it's interesting that the referee's going to really have to watch the players who are offside, who are in front of the kickers. Make sure that they're outside the 10. Make sure that they're getting run back onside as well.
Set. Steady, both steady.
Karunaratne to feed after the scrum. Not much different in both them. Just the 5 kilos. Of course, the front row we saw was the Josephians, which was heavier. Now looking for a set play to bring in Liana Patharan into play.
Stay back.
From the back, as Karunaratne couldn't get the timing right this time. Now the ball goes out for the Peters. Vimaladasa giving it out wide to Madhu Shankar, going into contact. Now the ball comes out once again, and it will be that's a yellow card. That's a yellow card for Tarinduri Alvis.
That's pretty silly, really. He needn't have done that. Just lined the player up. The pass was well away, and just went and hammered him again. So St. Joseph's will be without one of their key players for the next 10 minutes, and St. Peter's have got to capitalize on that.
Yeah, look, it's a great opportunity for St. Peter's here. They have to really concentrate and make sure that they work it. But we know that they've played against 14 St. Joseph's players before, and they haven't been able to get the job done. So now this will be a mental barrier here. Now the ball just goes there. Is he committed? Looked like he was pretty committed to me, but as a coach, you always want your 6, 7, 8 just to go out and just say hello to the opposition's number 10.
Setting up just outside the 22 for a rolling ball is St. Peter's, and they need to go straight as the Josephians are trying to turn the direction towards the touchline. Pete Wright's trying to set this up. There is one player who has already gone down to the ground and disrupting the maul, so that will be advantage for St. Peter's College. Yes, it's a penalty. It was Vishwa Pereira. This is Tarundri Alves, the big number 8 for St. Joseph's, who have to spend the next 9 odd minutes on the naughty chair. This is a great opportunity to put their mark on for St. Peter's College, Abdullah.
Yeah, that's right. There's a wonderful, well-structured driving maul, and with just 5 meters away, a great opportunity for St. Peter's to get some points on the board. And if they can do it within the first few minutes, having that extra man, it sets them up well for the remainder of the game, remainder of the while they have the extra man.
Yeah, look, there's that. There's a lot of things going right for St. Peter's right here, but they have to concentrate on this. But while St. Joseph's have got the win, if St. Peter's can score here, and there's great driving maul, well set up, looks like they've just taken that down.
Yeah, once again, it's St. Peter's this time have a lot of momentum, and have they touched the ball down? Referee Veranga is looking, and it's held up, but it'll be a penalty. Another penalty for St. Peter's College.
Time off.
Next time they do that, there'll be another player in the naughty chair for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Now this is the second infringement at ball time, and if St. Peter's can get this into touch and form another driving maul, St. Joseph's will have to be very, very careful, because they're really in some danger of going down to 13 players.
Yes, that was the last warning given by referee Veranga. As you see the St. Joseph's bench, and this is a great opportunity for St. Peter's College, and St. Joseph's have to be very careful here in this line out. They cannot commit a penalty here for sure. Not contesting the line out. Peters will drive this once again. If they get this right, they can do this all night. As the Peterites drive forward to Charles. Julian Charles scores the first try for St. Peter's College, and they're through.
Great try, well worked. Well done, coaches. That's all about stuff that they do from Monday to Friday. The forwards work on that. You know, every couple of trainings they'll be doing a couple of rolling mauls, and it's finally paid off. A couple of things there that they've done, St. Peter's. They've used up a bit of time when St. Joseph's have got the win. Another thing, St. Joseph's, when you've got a yellow card, you're trying to slow the game down as well. But here they didn't contest, and I thought that might have been a little bit of a mistake, because they got their maul so well set. There was nothing the Joes could do. Look at that, straight over. No one got a hand on Charles, did they?
That's right, and also it shows how important of having that extra man, isn't it, Paul? Tarundri Alves, a big unit, a very big part of that defensive effort of St. Joseph's, and when you lose such a valuable player, it does create a dent in your defense.
Yeah, look, it's a pretty harsh yellow card, I thought, but look, it is what it is, and now St. Peter's have got another opportunity. So with 14 players, what you have to do is you try and slow the game down and try and run the clock down as fast as you can without having too much play, so that the opposition doesn't have too much of an advantage. But balancing that against also having the wind and trying to make sure you use the wind as much as you can and speed the game up, you know, it's a balancing act for St. Joseph's now.
Absolutely, Paul, and conversion by Vimaladasa just going astray, but nonetheless St. Peter's have got their first points on the board.
Yeah, this was the try, but Abdullah, the conversion, the wind is so strong, isn't it? It's just keeping that away, and in the next 20 odd minutes it'll be St. Joseph's who need to capitalize on this, because they have got their win behind, as Samisha Viranga will put this deep inside the 22 with the help of the wind once again, as Kevin Vimaladasa trying to step and run from his own 22. It's very interesting from St. Peter's, trying to run the ball from their own 22 every time they get an opportunity, whereas St. Joseph's have been clearing. Maybe the wind factor playing in their minds. Here's the try scorer Charles going into contact, and now they have numbers on the outside. Peters College, ball in both hands, going into contact on the 50-meter mark. They come. Charles wants it once again outside. Lovely basic rugby showing and going through that contact was Madhushankar Dilshan. Madhushankar taking the ball into the contact for the 10-meter mark. Have the Josephians have managed to turn over ball now. And let's go to Algama, who gives it out to Viranga. Viranga cuts back straight away and almost onto
first knockout
to the touchline, and the referee awards a knock forward advantage to St. Joseph's College.
Yeah, it was a nice break there. We spoke a little bit earlier about how the St. Joseph's team are dropping players back, expecting a kick. Coach Martis has obviously seen this space on the outside as well, so that's why they're running it.
An in-depth look at schools rugby facts and figures logged onto the stats.thepapare.com, where you can find all the stats of the players of how they've fared this season. As Russian Gunavardhana feeds the ball into the scrum, gives it out to Santush, off to Viranga, and they have a nice second phase move there.
Release tackle.
Good hit coming up. St. Peter's look like now they have settled into this game, as Russian looking out to clear this ball now. Off to Tangaya. Jerome Tangaya taking the ball into contact. Here is Algama with the win, keeps the ball, and it's a knock forward. Very unfortunate for St. Peter's College.
Look, it's what St. Joseph's have to do though. They need to kick the ball and they need to start using the wind and play territory game. Very difficult for St. Peter's to get out of their own half. The only way they're getting out is running it. So they have to do more of that, and it takes effort to be able to do that.
Yes, as we have a look at that game once, a kick once again by Algama, finding some good distance using the wind. And Liana Patirana seemed to have had it under control, but the last moment just not able to hold on to it. And also the important thing is St. Peter's have to keep in mind that they are playing against the wind. And when they kick, they've got to ensure that they kick flat. Because when they kick, when they give the ball too much height, the ball tends to hang up. And if teams are not aware with when they're playing with or against the wind, it can cost them.
No pressure for Russian Gunavardhan on that occasion, because Jason was standing back. Here's an opportunity for the Josephians. Gamunu Chetia runs off one, runs off another. His class, isn't it? Gamunu Chetia scoring the second for St. Joseph's College. What a try, what a player.
Well, it was as if no one was in front of him. Wonderful running, and just shows what a wonderful talent he is. If you can have a look at that replay, I don't think anyone got a touch on him.
Look, wonderful talent and understatement for this kid. He is amazing. He's worth the admission price just to come along and just to watch him play. He's such an exciting player. St. Joseph's, 14 men, score a try against run and play. They had players there, they had defence. We have a look at the replay. He gets the ball, he's probably 40 metres out. One half tackle. There was nothing there, it was just too much pace. Just drifted out into the gap and then gassed it.
Just that ability to stop and start without reducing your pace, isn't it? That's just an amazing skill and an amazing talent. So St. Joseph's, despite being down to 14 players, have managed to extend this lead, and with the conversion to come from Algama, are sitting pretty, 15 points to 5.
Not a bad kick. Gotten it through. The linesmen like it. It's another 2 points for St. Joseph's. So now St. Joseph's are 12 points ahead, 17 points to 5. Is this win more than a 12-point win though?
Yeah, well, time will tell. But also just coming to that defensive effort, when you have players like Gamru Chetia, you cannot allow them to cross that first line of defense. Now as we have a look at that again, once you miss that, once he breaches that first line of defense, running round the fullback is never going to be a problem. And St. Peter's have got to keep that in mind.
Yeah, what a try. Bang off his left foot. He went around Leena Pathirana. Leena Pathirana just thought he would have stopped and turned into his right side, but he went the other way around. It was just too late for Sehan Leena Pathirana to commit on him, as St. Peter's now this time once again a good chase, kicking close, and a good chase this time by St. Peter's College. Here's St. Joseph's now. Turnover ball for the Peterites. Going into contact is Abdullah. A pick and drive by Julian Charles, the try scorer. 17 points to 5. The Josephians leading. Inside the 22 they go now. Jason Karunaratna gives the ball out wide to Kevin Vimaladasa. Lovely switch back in, but not running straight, running sideways was Rukshan Madhu Shankar. Here is an opportunity once again. A quick ball onto the outside for Hilmi.
Step back, step
Good
back.
clearance there by Julian Charles.
Step back, hey, step back.
Jason looking for options. Playing this slow, the Peterites. Taking the ball into contact once again, right hand top. And he wins another penalty. That was Shehan Eranda, the second time he has done in the game. And the Josephians have wanted to play this fast. And they have given that out wide to Keshchan Kavin, who has released and picked it up and run once again. Roshan Gunawardhan looking for options. He is Samisha Viranga. St. Peter's College have made an offense there for not retrieving back. Here's the Josephians trying to capitalize on it because they know the penalty is coming. Here it comes. Didn't get back on time to come up on defense, the Peterites. And St. Joseph's once again, what a player, Shehan Eranda, what a turnover there.
Yeah, that's right. It's an area where St. Joseph's are very strong, and it's St. Peter's have got to be aware of that. It's purely the reason why they won that semi-final against Kingswood, and I'm sure Coach Martis over the week would have emphasized the point of getting there at the breakdown and in committing enough numbers, as we see Tharindra always back on the field. So it was a 7 points to 5 gain when the Josephians were down to 15 players, and we'll have to wait and see whether in the final analysis whether that will hurt St. Peter's.
Well, here we go. We're having a shot at goal. He's at least 50 metres on the fly. Yeah, it'll be a cracking kick if he gets it over. He does have the win that we've been talking about. But so there was the balancing act that we were talking about. Do St. Joseph's, do they play quickly and try and catch St. Peter's out? The answer there was yes. They did take that quick tap, and they made metres, and they got up to this point, and St. Peter's just didn't get back on side quick enough. Their defence wasn't retreating fast enough, and that's why they've got this opportunity for a thumping kick. Has he got the legs? Ooh, just doesn't have the direction.
That's right. It's considering that they're playing with the wind, I think Algama's definitely had the legs on that, but unfortunately the direction just not going its way. So it could be a way that St. Joseph will want to play this game, considering that they're playing with the wind in the first half, try and up the pace as possible and just try and catch the Peterites defense out wide napping, because they've got some wonderful runners like Chaitya and Kavinda out wide, and I'm sure they will want to make use of them.
Yeah, you know, if you have a quality player like Dulanjana Piatis on the bench, that's how quality is this St. Joseph's team, as the Josephians have managed to get the ball back. And that was part of the plan as well. If that 3 didn't go, here is Tharindudi Alvis, who will have to prove a point now, coming back after committing a yellow card. Opportunity here, Chaitya once again trying to look for options. Chaitya almost through. He's brought down by the Peterites this time around. He's deadly, isn't it, Kamanu Chaitya? Here is the Josephians. Tiraka Santush taking the ball into contact. Russian looking for players. Chevon Gregory now. They are playing this nice and clean, the Josephians, turning back to the short side because they know the danger man is on the outside. And that's obstruction, unfortunately, for St. Joseph's College, and Peterites will have a sigh of relief.
As well, again, St. Peter's have got to make sure they don't let Chaitya breach that first line of defense, because expecting the cover defense as well as only the fullback to tackle him is not going to be easy. And on that occasion, a desperate ankle tackle is what just saved the day.
Yeah, as we have a look at that accidental offside there, So St Joseph's, they just tried to suck in some forwards and try and create some space on the outside there. They played a couple of phases, didn't quite work out.
Jason Karunaratne outside the 22. Will he kick from the base or give it out wide? They will want to run, but they're trying this tactic of going out on the shorter side. Have managed to gain about 5 meters through Hilmi. And that's Abdullah taking the ball into contact. High tackle, says referee Viranga.
12, high tackle.
That's the skipper who has made the sin there, Samisha Viranga.
A bit lazy on Viranga. He needed to go low, just stayed up and just threw his arms at, I think, the pit right Abdullah Faiz, if I'm not mistaken, and conceded the penalty. And again, we looked at that kick by Lena Pathir, and he gave the ball far too much here. He's got to keep in mind that he is playing against the wind, and he's got to make sure that the kicks go flat.
Yeah, look, it's an arm wrestle at the moment, isn't it? The momentum's going for either side. We see a little
On the line.
replay. So that Joe's play there, he got away with being offside. If he's going to get away with that, he's got to make sure that he makes that hit from the outside in.
This is where they scored the first try on as well, but that's not straight.
What do you want? Line out to scrum. Line out to the scrum.
50-50 calls. Julian Charles, one of the most senior players in the team for the Pete Wrights. That's a scrum they have called for the Josephians. It's on the 50-meter mark. That's where they capitalize on the initial instances.
That's right. Again, just as we're talking about the kicks, you've got to keep in mind when you're throwing the ball as well, and when the wind comes into play, you've got to ensure that you take that into account as well. And it's best to try and throw as flat as possible when you're playing against in such windy conditions. Because when you keep the ball in there, it tends to swing and you don't have any control. So the hookers as well as the kickers have got to keep that in mind.
The line out for St Peters is actually doing pretty well so far. That's the first mistake they've made. Scored a try off one of their driving mauls. So every time that they have the ball in hand, every time they have a line out, I'd imagine they're going to throw to 4 or 2 and probably take the ball down and try and suck in some defenders because they're getting so much ground from that rolling maul.
Schools, clubs, national, the comprehensive around the wickets segment coming to you on ThePapare.com. Sri Lanka's cricket analysis around the wickets. As now Tarindudi Alvis breaking off that scrum but knocks the ball forward and offside, picking the ball in front, and that's a penalty for St. Peters. Another opportunity for them to capitalize.
First no call.
Yeah, see here now, he's just slowing the game down a little bit. It's 26 and a half minutes gone now. There's another, maybe 19 minutes left, 18 minutes left, where St Joseph's have got the ball. Right now, St Peters will try and take out another 2 or 3 minutes just in the kick, and really got to go forward. Ooh, lost the ball forward, player is in front. But the number 8's got to go forward there. He's got to get over that advantage line, or if they're not going to go forward, you might as well just play it straight out to the backs.
Yeah, that's right. And Naveen De Silva, I think, in desperation, just trying to collect that ball from an offside position. Rare mistake by Tarindudi Alvis. Been solid for St. Joseph's throughout the season. Is going for another line out. That's wonderfully well sacked. So the referee very correctly letting it go. Ball comes out St. Peter's way.
Yes, Pete Wrights now trying to bust their way through to the 22-meter mark, just outside the 22. This is where they can win the battle with their forwards. And if they can get quick ball out wide, forwards trying to run their way through. Another bust up by the prop forward. Abdullah taking the ball into contact just outside the 22. Here's Jason looking at the short side now. There's a couple of players on the outside, but he managed to cut back in. Charles, the big prop forwards for Peters, working hard. Vimala Dasa coming in as the acting scrum half, and there's a knock forward by the St. Peter's College team, and St. Joseph's will get the ball here. Is humidity coming into play, Abdullah? We can slightly feel that here in the commentary box. I'm sure on the outside it's going to be very humid.
Yes, the ball is probably a bit slippery as well. That was the second knock-on we've seen in the past few minutes. So it's again just the awareness of the conditions, isn't it? Players have got to be aware. They've got to ensure that they hold the ball on tighter. Because when you go into contact, you want to be able to secure the next phase. You just don't want to turn possession over. Gunawardena feeding the ball. An opportunity for Josephians to clear their line. Ball goes out to Algama.
Puts the kick behind. Liana Patrana once again indecisive for whether to go for the ball or not. Almost picked up by the Josephians. He manages to recover and going into contact. Quick ball offloaded to Kavind. Here's an opportunity for Akila. Shan Akila has one to beat. And Shan Akila brought down
advantage
there by Madhushankar. Now St. Joseph's College have the advantage. Opportunity. Russian giving it out wide to Tarinduri Alvis, who wants the second one after his yellow card. Now a ball comes out wide to Gregory. 5 meters. Here's Russian now. Lovely bit of play by Russian. Gunawardena giving the forwards on the both sides, giving them a run.
Stay.
Picking and driving through once again. St. Joseph's College need players quickly. Here's Russian giving it out wide. An inside pass off to the skipper. Samisha Viranga is playing closer now.
Step back! Step back! Step back!
Pick and drive. Tiraka Santosh. Another advantage coming back for St. Joseph's College. Algama taking the ball into contact.
Wait.
And that's a penalty coming up. Offside is the call. Scrum.
Down.
The call was made by Tarindu Maduranga.
Line offside.
Yes, a positive move by the Josephians as we have a look at that phase of play. Again, Liana Pathirana just being found out of position. In this ground, you just cannot let the ball bounce because the unpredictability of conditions again coming into play, and St. Joseph's were very quick to pounce on that and managed to extract a penalty. Safe option would have been to go for the 3 points, but seem to have decided to try and force the issue even further. And if they can get a score here, just about 3 minutes before half time, it will definitely be a big disappointment for the Patriots. As we see Tarindu again breaks and goes close by. But some wonderful defense by St. Peter's to hold them off. But St. Joseph's, more importantly, have managed to retain possession.
No, get back.
Well read there by the Patriots on that 8-9-14 move. Now the Patriots have the Josephians having the momentum. Gregory, they are going upwards but managed to bring down. Here's Russian looking for options, trying to step and run through. As he gone over the line, it looks like he's held up, so he'll come back. Shehan Eranda taking the ball into contact.
Yellow on the line.
Held up, so well defended by St. Peter's. So there'll be another scrum.
Yeah, there will be another scrum. You'll notice in the scrums that the St. Peter's team, they play a defensive system where the halfback drops back and defends with all the other players, with all the other backs, so he doesn't stand up at the scrum. They put him on the blind side, and so it's a defensive system that does work, and it worked in that point there. And so the question was, should St. Joseph's have taken the kick and just kicked the ball back down from the kickoff and come down here in another 2 minutes and taking the 3 points? It looks like if they don't get some points here, that may have been a mistake.
Here's Russian, they're still not done. That was a cheeky move by Russian Gunawardena. The reverse angle will tell us exactly what he did. He didn't put the ball into the scrum. Maybe it went in and came out, picked up straight away.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. In the finals, points are so important, isn't it? And there's 17 points to 5 up, just on the verge of half time. And if they can score a try from here, then all will be forgiven. Seem to have men out wide. Chetia once again And again, St. Peter's just missing that first tackle, first up on Gamanu. They just cannot afford to do that. And again, some desperate cover defense, just saving St. Peter's from another try. As we have a look at that once again.
Look at the lovely hands, goes out wide. Gamanu Chetia, now look at this. He has two men in front of them. Foxes them out. And didn't have enough space on the outside to cut back in and run straight.
Time off.
Again, I'm not sure whether with a guy like Gamanu Chethi, whether that drift defense is the best form of defense to try and hold him, because he's just got such a turn of speed, and if your opposite number is not being able to keep up with him, you're asking for a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I'd probably have. When we coached against him, we stood the man who was marking him on the outside of him, and then you had everyone pushing from the inside out, and that way it's more difficult for him to go around the outside if the defender's standing on the outside of him. So it's outside shoulder instead of inside. But, you know, he's so good. I don't know how you defend against him. You probably have two guys there. St. Peter's did pretty well there, and I haven't seen that sort of defence. You saw that in '95 against Jonah Lomu, where all the South Africans, they just wanted to get in there and tackle.
That's right. Coach Sanat Mart is anxiously looking on. Sure, he'll be wanting to St. Peter's to just get out of this position and just go into half-time. We can settle things down a bit.
Josephs have managed to turn over ball. They're going just close to the try line now. They'll pick and drive through Gregory first of all. And as he had got the momentum going in, well defended by St. Peter's once again. Held up. About 30 seconds on our clock to go. Can the Josephians? And that will be half time. And what a defensive effort by the Peterites to hold them on at 17-5 going into half time. And they'll have massive confidence coming in with the wind in the second. It's going to be very interesting, isn't it?
That's right. And Wilders not taking those 3 points come to haunt them later. But they get 17 points to 5 up. St. Peter's, I'm sure, will be very pleased with that last defensive effort in the last 5 minutes. It should give them a lot of confidence, but they definitely have their work cut out going into the second half.
Yeah, look, that's right. They're up against it. I think St. Joseph's are against this now. They expended a lot of energy at the end of that half. It's the end of a long season, so players are generally fatigued as it is. Now they have to come and have a massive 35 minutes defending only a 12-point lead, and while they're tired, it'll be a heroic effort. We know that they've got heroic efforts in them, so it won't be beyond them, but it's a tall order, 12 points. I asked the question earlier, is 12 points enough with this win?
That's right, but also it's important that St. Peter's are aware of that, isn't it, Paul, that they are playing with the wind. So far I thought they were not very clever in the way they approached the first half in terms of their kicking game. They gave the ball far too much air when they were trying to kick. And they've just got to be aware that now they're playing with the wind, that they've got to make sure that they capitalize on that.
First half highlights, that was the first 3 points by Santosh Algama early in the game. Very early they put a lot of pressure on the Peterites. And then this happened of Taninduri Alvis. Russian went to the right, and Taninduri Alvis came to the left, and he scored the first try for the Josephians to open the gates on. Santosh Algama couldn't get this through. In fact, he does, and then St. Peter's College managed to score another try, the only try in the first half for the Peterites. And then this was one of the best. Look at Gamunu, bang off his left foot, he goes off Liana Patirana. No chance, and with a little bit of smile showing that this is what I've got you in the next 35 also. Will put a lot of question marks in the heads of the Peterite defense as Algama managed to slot this in between the posts to finish the half time. But this was Gamunu Chetia's another attempt to put the Josephians in front or further in front to extend the lead. But Liana Patrana this time got his man out and put him out. So
yeah, look, so I just saw that defensive move there, and it looks like the St. Joseph's, they need to make sure that they stick some defenders early on in the inside. But there we go, that's halftime break. 17 points to 5.
Yeah, confirmation half-time, 17 points to 5. The Milo Knockouts 2018 will be back after the turnaround. Everything for play for. Can the Peterites bridge the 12-point gap and plus one more, or the Josephians will hold? We'll have to wait and see in the next 35. Stay with ThePapare.com. We'll be back.
The choices that I have made in my life have made me the man I am today. And that's why my choice is Milo.
Milo is made with fresh milk that is brought to the factory and blended with the golden goodness of malt and cocoa from the finest beans to give Milo that great chocolatey malt taste. As Milo is all about nutrition, health and wellness, every pack of Milo contains less than 2 teaspoons of sucrose, which is added sugar less than 5%.
Milo fuels my winning spirit.
මේ දන්නවද?
මොකද්ද?
ඉතින් කැප්ටන් කරලා.
දන්නවා.
මේ අතුසිංහ ලංකාවට නෝට්.
දන්නවා.
කෙවින් ඩික්සන් දන්නවා.
දන්නවා. දන්නවා.
ඊයේ රග්බි මැච් එක. එතකොට සුරංග ලක්මල් කියපු දේ දන්නේ නේද? ඕකනේ කියන්නේ පපරෙත් ගෙඩිය නම් ඔහොම ස්ටක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ.
I start each day with a dream to win. Training, working hard, rain. How strong the other team is, nothing can stop me.
Nourishing Milo with its unique combination of chocolate, malted barley and B vitamins, together with the goodness of milk, brings out the winner in you. Milo, fueling the winning spirit.
Nestle, good food, good life.
The pull of the crowd, the overpowering of a tackle, the thrill of scoring, the feeling nothing compares with. Milo President's Trophy Finals between St. Joseph's and St. Peter's at Racecourse Ground on 30th June at 6 p.m. Live and exclusive on Dialogue Television channel number 118, Dialogue TV Go, MyTV, ThePapare.com, Milo Sri Lanka Facebook page.
Well, kiss me one more time.
Welcome back to the Racecourse International Rugby Stadium. Peters playing St. Joseph's. What a fixture it is on a Saturday afternoon on the first day of June, as we last day of June rather, as St. Joseph's are leading 17 points to 5 here at the Racecourse grounds. So first half, electric first half. Of course, Josephians had a cracking start. From there on, Peterites have managed to hold on the Josephians.
That's right, and just the last 5 minutes, I think that defensive effort should give the Peterites a lot of confidence. Joseph's could rue not taking those 3 points that were on offer. But again, St. Peter's, they've just got to up their game a bit. I thought they were very tentative in those first 20 minutes. They let St. Joseph's dictate play and just went behind the 8th ball at the start and slowly crept themselves back into the game. But they've really got a lot of work to do. And it's not just getting the 12 points, isn't it, Paul? It's also a matter of ensuring that this dangerous Josephian three-quarter line don't add on any points as well.
Yeah, look, playing into the wind this half for St. Joseph's should be exciting for us, for all the viewers and everyone who's watching, because it means that they won't kick, they'll probably run, they'll probably spread it out wide, and that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see those outside centres and their running backs with the ball in hand, charging up the field. So difficult time for St. Peter's. They've got to make sure that their defence on the edges is correct. With St. Peter's, they just want to hold on to the ball to start off with. They do play an exhaust style of attack where they just keep going the same way until they get to the 5 metre line on the far side, and then they come back and do exactly the same thing. I'd imagine they'll do that again. Will they kick the ball and try and play territory? We'll wait and see, I suppose. I'd imagine they'd have to. You have to with this win.
What do you think Coach Sanat Martis would have told in terms of the defensive line and how to keep players like Gamnu Chethi in check, because he's already breached the defensive line at least on 3 occasions?
Well, I think what they did right at the end, you saw their defence work really well. They came up and they drifted across, and they had the numbers there to drift across. I think they're going to do exactly the same. The problem here will be that St. Joseph's are going forward really well in the middle of the park. How do you control that and also watch on the outside and have the numbers to do that drift defence? That's the question.
Kenneth Vimaladasa puts the kick deep inside the 22 as now St. Peter's. It's a penalty against St. Peter's.
I've got to say that looked like a great tackle to me.
He did. But we have to wait and see if his foot reached above the cross line. Let's see once again. Here he goes.
He lifted him. It was a great shot. Boom! You saw that, and then he just lifts him up. Does it go past horizontal? It does go a little bit above horizontal, but in the old days when I used to play, and it was a great tackle. It looked like a great tackle to me. Great hit, but not to the letter of the law. So that's why we see a penalty.
Yes, player safety has become such a big buzzword of world rugby, isn't it, Paul, that referees have been told to clamp down on any form of illegal tackles, and the definition is very, very clear, isn't it? It was a wonderful hit, but unfortunately it just went above the 360. So referee Berang, I thought, definitely made the correct call, and I thought has shown a good maturity not to card him, because it's easy to go to the pocket in that kind of situation, but he decided not to do that.
That's right. So in that situation there, the first hit was good. It was great. He got a foot in close. He hit him with a shoulder. So what he needed to do there was leg drive. Instead of leg drive, what he did is he started to stand up and lift with his arms. If he leg drove, he would have just gone straight ahead.
Here's Russian now giving it out wide to Santosh. Santosh trying to loop around, and then he finally sees there was no one behind him. As the replacement who has come in, Tenukanana Kara, in place of Shehan Lianapatharan at fullback. Coach Sanat Martis have brought the change. Will that affect defensively now? The Josephians seem to have no wind against them as they kick this nice and deep inside the Peters 22, and they're put under a lot of pressure once again.
Yeah, we saw that a little bit in the first half as well, where the teams were kicking, and when you get the ball back and you're in a position and you're not too far back away from the halfway line and you can move it to the other side, and generally in this ground here there's a lot of space on the far side, so we saw St. Joseph's just exploit that there. We saw St. Peter's exploit it a little bit in the first half.
As St. Joseph's now, this time it's a crooked throw.
What do you want? Line out to scrum.
So St. Peter's have the same issue in the first half where they had a crooked throw.
Again, it's just the awareness of the wind, isn't it, Paul? Again, we were talking about this at half-time. Coaches need to just tell not just the kickers, even for the hookers, they've got to ensure that not to try and avoid giving too much air to the ball, because you just lose control, isn't it?
You can tweet with us on now and get your tweet live on the feed. Hashtag Joe Pete is what you have to do. Hashtag Joe Pete, as Jason Karunaratna gives this ball out wide to Vimaladasa. Vimaladasa puts this cross. Now he has the wind behind, but is it helping him? He has a question mark as it goes to the opposition 10 into touch.
Yeah, look, he didn't quite get the distance on it. He probably wanted to end up, for that ball to end up on the 22, and that's what you'll be looking for. So you can see St. Peter's have already recognised that they need to play territory. They're trying to play a kicking game. They just don't. That one wasn't executed how it should have been, and that's why they didn't get the distance there.
This time getting the line out right. Both teams have one each. As now going into contact for the Josephians just outside the 22. It'll be interesting to see. Yes, Russian putting the kick from the base and putting a lot of pressure on Karunaratne. Karunaratne gives it out wide to Nanakara. Nanakara into contact gives his Madhushankar, Rukshan Madhushankar. This St. Peter's now trying to rain through few faces. And yes, Joseph's trying to take the ball quickly.
Get back, please. Time off.
Yes, side entry was the call there, so referee Veranga right on the ball.
So I think Candy Sports Club, they call this drama, where you just try and end up some of the clock. Obviously, that player that got thrown to the ground, looks like he might have lost his keys or something on the ground. But here we see the great hit there. Ball needed to keep on moving because there was space on the outside there for the St. Peter's players. Good work on the ground as well. Just moving the ball away. This next player here, I'm not sure why the penalty came in. Maybe the player came in on the side. There, he just sealed off. Then the quick tap came, and I'm not sure why that wasn't played on either.
Right. AR call right. Gagande and Depa. Right. Last one. Right.
Very cheeky there, Samish Viranga. It's not his team's fault, he says very clearly, and Viranga on the other hand. So both teams have given the last warning. Assistant referee's call for fighting. So no more pushing and shoving will be tolerated by referee Viranga. Samisha Viranga very clearly saying that that his team is not starting out the fights. Here's the replay once again for that penalty. Sealing off was the call. But, was there any material impact by the Josephians? Was there any clear daylight to contest the ball is a question mark, but the Josephians have managed to get this line out nice and clean and driving first and fast. As use it once, says referee Veranga now. Now the Pete Wrights break away, but there's an advantage for entering side was Abdullah. And it's a penalty. Quickly taken by Russian. Russian steps off one, steps off another. Gunawardana needs support. Has in place of Samisha, who went into contact. Shan Akila, who went into contact there. First time we have seen him in some time to catch the ball. However, it's a penalty for St. Joseph's College. 7 penalties conceded each by both teams.
Side taking in. Side taking it.
Side entry was the initial infringement. That was Abdullah who entered the mall. And then from there on a quick tap was taken by Russian Gunawardana.
Get back 16, get back 16.
As Santosh Algama has this nice and clean in front of the post. As Algama strikes this nice and clean, it goes in between the posts. 20 points to 5 they lead as they extend on the 40-minute mark. St. Joseph's College.
Well, the pleasing thing there for St Joseph's would have been not only those 3 points, but also the way their line-out worked then. All season long, their line-out has been questionable, and teams do try and put a lot of pressure on them. But they're a good set line-out, and that set up that penalty. So their line-out players and also the line-out coach can take a lot of heart in that.
Yeah, that's right, but also you've got to, generally in the driving maul, you've got to ensure that you don't give the opposition start, isn't it, when you're trying to defend it. Once they get a bit of momentum, it's very, very hard. If the line-out maul is very well structured, it's very, very hard to stop a team once they get a bit of momentum, and that's exactly what happened. Managed to extract the penalty from St. Peter's, and with that, St. Joseph's have extended their lead 20 points to 5.
Tarinduri Alves gives couple of passes to Rushen and then to Santosh to try and clear. Was a bit too late as St. Peter's were right in front of him on his face. He had no choice. Here's Rushen Gunawardena trying to step and run through, breaks off one, looking for opportunities, and he offloads to Gregory, now taking the ball into contact on the 22-meter mark. As St. Joseph's now trying to run from their own 22. We saw this by the Patriots in the first half, mostly because of they were playing against the wind. Now they try and kick this out. Santosh Algama gives a lot of air, but Jason Karunaratne gives it out to Vimaladasa. Vimaladasa puts this cross behind. There is no one at the back. If this gets through nice and clean for the Patriots, was Gamunu Chetia who came back and got that ball. And Peterson managed to go turnover ball. Good counter ruck there by the Patriots. Here's Jason Karunaratne on the 22-meter mark.
Stay back.
Jason once again looking for options. Charles taking the ball into contact. Vimaladasa trying to give it out wide. Now St. Peter's taking inch by inch. Standing start there by Hilmi. Arm wrestled into the ground by Aranda. There's space on the outside. Lovely catch and pass. Cutting back in was Madhushankar. Dilshan Madhushankar coming back in for Charles. Peters now putting a lot of faces. This is the 6th phase. Into contact. St. Peter's trying to pick and drive once again. This is Pereira. Lakshanka Pereira taking the ball into contact. Peters trying to play fast. Drive behind once again. Here's Vimaladasa trying to step off one and run through now. Gains a lot of momentum. This is an opportunity. Madhushankar. Dilshan Madhushankar, no way through that for him. A quick pick and drive by Abdullah. Into the 5-meter mark they go, St. Peter's. 12th phase. The ball comes out wide to Vimaladasa. There is one more pass and that will be a try for St. Peter's College through Silva. Shenal Silva scoring that try. And what a passage of play for the Patriots. Exactly what Coach Martis would have asked. 12 faces and the 13 goes for a try.
That's right. Wonderful patience and composure. They didn't post the issue. They drew the defense of St. Joseph's into as many rucks as possible and finally managed to find a space out wide. And that's what St. Peter's need to do more. They need to play the game in St. Joseph's halves just to give themselves an opportunity.
Now we have a little look at the replay. You can see there's numbers on the outside, and we're calling from the commentary box just to keep passing because they had the numbers. A good try on the outside, all set up by the forwards on the inside though. They were doing some hard yards up the middle, and St. Joe's, they had some good defence there. Around the rucks, they were very solid. It was just that their defence compressed in when they needed to stay out, so the winger needed to stay on his man and just call some players out.
That's right. So Vimaladasa with the kick to try and reduce this 10-point deficit. Just 10 minutes into this second half.
Interesting pre-kick routine, isn't it, Kenneth? Vimaladasa, bit like Owen Farrell. has the eye running throughout the path that he wants to kick. Has he got that through the right path? No, he hasn't. So the score will remain 20 points to 10, but this effort by the Patriots will be pleasing because they're showing signs of coming back and being patient and building up tries.
So they'll have all the momentum right here now. So Joes will come. I'm surprised they're going to pretend to take a quick kick. So St. Peter's, what they'll want to do is they'll make sure they'll get a clean ball here, get the ball back to their kicker, and spend the next 15, 20 minutes down in the other end of the field.
Showing a bit of character now and running straight into contact was Pereira. So Peters now. Jason coming out, looking for options, showing and going straight. That's a good one. Here's Jason now looking for options once again. Goes back to Kenneth Vimaladasa. Kenneth putting this kick behind. Looks like the wind has died down, but straight into the throat of the danger man. Chetia switched the ball off to his left hand, cuts back in and runs into contact. Gemon Chetia, every time he gets the ball, we get excited, but he gives away a penalty. Not enough support. His own players couldn't keep up to his pace there to come and support him. However, Gamunu Chetia is a lively guy, isn't it? Every time he gets the ball, there's something happening on the outside. Look at this. Bang off his left foot once again. That's pure class. And he needs support running inside. Didn't have, went into contact. Good tackle by Jason Karunaratna one-on-one. And managing to hold on there was St. Peter's College. Terrific.
Two superstars there meeting. On the ground there, and by half a second, the cavalry were coming, but he's so fast he gets away from his support and he's difficult to follow.
Yes, not only getting away from the defense, but away from his own teammates as well. Since St. Peter's again have got to be careful. He's playing at fullback today, and when they're kicking in, they've got to ensure that they kick away from him, because give him so much room, he's deadly.
Of course, he has outplayed Dulanjana Piyatisa, who is on the bench today. Here is St. Peter's now. This is where they have been from. They have been successful throughout the day. And once again, St. Joseph's entering the mall in from the side. And it's a penalty coming up for St. Peter's College. So they will try everything they could. But once again, if you take Kenneth Vimaladas's intentions there to kick across, Gamunu Chetia on the outside away from your screen was lining up for that. But a penalty was coming up. They should kick this once again and try exactly what they did in the first half, got them a try.
Exactly, and I think in the second half, St. Joseph's haven't negotiated the driving maul of St. Peter's that well so far. They have been not very clear on how they want to stop this driving maul, and in the process they have infringed and given away penalties to St. Peter's. They've also got to be careful because now this is the second time it has happened in quick succession. It happens a couple more times, you could find the referee going to his pocket as well.
Yeah, fourth time in the game. It's happened a couple of times in the first half. Tehan Seniviratna was the prop forward. St. Joseph's wishes all the luck. Of course, watching from on ThePapare.com. Thank you, Tehan, for joining with us. Here's St. Peter's now pushing them behind. And that's another penalty. And it's a yellow card this time. So, yes, Abdullah, it was happening one too many for the Josephians. And it's Chevon Gregory who will go out. So, once again, another man down for Josephs. This is an excellent opportunity for St. Peter's.
It's not just another man. They are going to be minus about 100 kgs now. So, massive advantage for St. Peter's. They've got to capitalize. Last time, Tharunu de Alvis went to the bin. They lost that period by 7 points to 5. They've got to make use, ensure that they make maximum use of having that extra man.
Yes, the line out, holding up till the support arrives this time. St. Peter's College got them all driving once again. And the Josephians are pushed back. So they're pushed back. It's inches close to the try line. This is the way to go forward, and they score the try. Here we go, St. Peter's coming back and hitting the Josephians hard. And it's all forwards who are creating play. Couple of tries in quick sessions for the Petrites. Now it's a 5-pointer game, just a try. Julian Charles getting the second, and off 2 balls for St. Peter's College.
Yeah, look, he's got to thank those 7 players that are in front of him that set that up for him. Pretty hard to stop. It's not just about negotiating that driving maul. You know, you won't get any prizes for guessing what they're going to do next. They're just going to keep on coming and doing this. And if it's going to work and if they're going to keep getting points, now they're only 3 points behind. Or they can be. They're 5 points behind with kick to come. But here you see them driving, and it's almost untouched, Julian Charles there.
You can see plenty of niggle. It's a cup final after all. You saw that in the first half, continuing in this second half. It was all St. Joseph's in that first half. Bit of head tapping after scoring tries, but St. Peter's seem to have got back into this game with a kick to come from Vimaladasa.
Kenneth Farrell, Vimaladasa will call him from here on. Puts that kick off the left foot, off the left post rather. So still a 5-point game, and if this continues, and they have a good another 9 minutes with 14 men against the opposition. Here's the replay once again on that maul.
I just don't think St. Joseph's committed enough players at the start of that maul. There were too many players standing away, and that just helped St. Peter's to get that momentum. And once you get that kind of momentum from 5 meters or 7 meters out, it's very, very hard to stop.
So here we go. See the man on the bench there. Now, St. Joseph's, what do they have to do to get back into this game? They need to change the momentum. They're trying to slow the game down here because they've got a man in the bin. They'll try and eat up that 10 minutes while they don't have him.
Yeah, so the referee just said there's 15 minutes left and Josephs are trying to slow this game down. And out of those 15, 9 odd minutes will be played with 14 men for Josephs. Now Vimaladasa trying to kick this ball out into touch, and they'll try and play this fast now. St. Joseph's suddenly getting this out wide quickly, and a good tackle on the 50-meter mark on Russian Gunawardana. And now St. Peter's will try and put a lot of pressure on the ruck, but the Josephians have managed to secure ball on that occasion as a pick and drive comes through. Here's Eranda now on top of that ball as Gunawardana gives it to Algama. Algama kicking this back to Jason Karunaratna, and that's a knock forward and an opportunity for Josephs. Here is the Josephians now inside the 22. They go through Kevin carving the Keshan on the outside, but no advantage, so it'll be a knock forward advantage for St. Joseph's College. It'll come back way just close to the 40-meter mark.
Yeah, look, that was a good kick. A lot of pressure coming in on him. Young Jason, he couldn't take the ball cleanly, and that little break there, that might be the break in momentum that St. Joseph's needed. Now they've got the ball in front of them. There's handling errors there on your screen. 4 handling errors by St. Peter's. That was another one that added to it there, and 3 by St. Joseph's.
It's an interesting choice by Taranri Alves to take that quick line out. You're 5 meters, 5 points ahead. You're down 1 man as well. Game management is just so crucial going into this last few minutes, isn't it, Paul? If they had just slowed it down, taken the line out, maybe done a driving maul, eaten the clock a bit more. It hasn't cost them much, but
yeah, look,
could have
I thought
decisive.
that too, but if they've got trouble with their lineouts, maybe the quick throw and just get the ball in and play from there might be what they're going to do.
Now they're trying to kick this behind deep into the Pete Wright territory, and it bounces off. It'll be a 22-meter dropout, inches, isn't it? That was an inches game.
So the coaches must have had a word and said when the ball goes behind the try line, you've got to make sure you touch it down, because that's what cost them the first try.
Yes, he did exactly, and that's why Shehan Leonapathana, I'm not sure if he's injured out or a tactical substitution.
Behind the ball.
As Kenneth Vimaladasa now.
Peters have got to get back into the Josephian half as fast as possible and just make use of this numerical advantage that they have.
As Seranda taking the ball into contact now, St. Joseph's on the other hand will try to have ball possession as much as they can. Here's Alves, open broken play by Alves, and offloads it out wide to his skipper Viranga. And Russian Gunawardana trying to play this fast, gives it out wide to Chetia, and Chetia puts 1 in front. Here's an opportunity. This could be the game changer. Can be, it cannot.
So there in those situations, they had a really flat back line. There were 3 of them there, but if you're that flat, the person with the ball has to go forward. You've got to go forward a couple of metres, and that means you can pass back. Here we can see a better example of it. See how flat they are. He had to go forward one step, and then he would have been able to pass, and the pass would have gone backwards. But it's a mistake. Everyone makes them. Just got to learn.
Yes, it's clear that the ball may have drifted back, but when it left his hands, the movement was forward. So the referee is obligated to judge that as forward pass, which he has done.
Yes, Jason Karnaratna at the back of the scrum now. Opportunity for St. Peter's. Vimaladasa trying to run from their half. Steps through one, steps to another. And brought down on the 50-meter mark. Now they put this out wide. An opportunity here for St. Peter's College. Does he have pace to run around? That's Silva, Chanel Silva, who scored a try for St. Peter's College. Here is Charles, the big prop forward now. St. Peter's, this is where they started the try before. Nizran taking the ball into contact. Nilar Nizran, who had a good game so far. Here's Jason getting this out wide. Here's Abdullah taking the ball into contact in center field now. Jason once again giving it out wide, and it's a knock forward. This time they were a bit too much passes there for St. Peter's College, and the Josephians will have the opportunity on the 40-meter mark, and Rashin Gunawardena will not take any risk but to kick this inside the Pete right half now. He has an opportunity, pushes off one and gives it out wide. Tenuka and St. Peter's College trying to make something out here. Dexter Fernando, they are taking the ball into contact. Julian Charles gives it out wide to Vimaladasa. Vimaladasa gives it to Abdullah. Abdullah puts it behind, taking the ball into contact now is Hilmi. This is Nizran Nilar, who has had a fantastic game for Peters, and that was hands in the ruck straight away. Oh dear, oh dear. Yes, the correct call in the end was made.
Hands on the ruck.
Just thought for a moment that was the penalty on the other side, but they have to go there. It's an interesting call here. Kenneth Vimaladasa will go for 3 points, or will he go for touch? With one man down for St. Joseph's College, with all the momentum scoring the try off them all, he will try and get this ball into touch. Yes, he does. Nice and clean. Just outside the 5-meter mark. Great opportunity for St. Peter's College.
Yeah, now St. Joe's are really under pressure here. And as we have a little look at that replay, you see they're making inroads around the ruck time as well, which is dangerous sign because if St. Peter's get momentum around the ruck, it's very difficult to stop once they get past that initial break, once they get past your initial line of defence. Almost impossible to stop. Not straight was called by the referee. You saw there the crowd's getting animated, everyone's feeling the pressure.
Yes, what a crucial mistake that was.
Number 1 off.
Probably it would have been an uncontested line out as well.
Blue number 1.
Just got to be alert, and the execution is of paramount importance as go into the last few minutes of this half.
Tiraka Santosh replaced thereby, and he's questioning the referee why he should go out. He was replaced by Coach Nilufer Ibrahim. And now Pete Wrights are pumped up. Capturing the essence of schools rugby, log on to www.thepapare.com/photos. All the pictures of schools rugby, where you can get your photos on thepapare.com.
At early on, crouch. Set.
Russian Gunawardena feeding the ball into the scrum. St. Peter's will try and push this back. They come back to Santosh Algama. Algama needs to get good distance. Has he? Yes, ball play to the just outside the 22. With that's a decent kick, isn't it?
Yes, not too much damage done, as St. Joseph's getting the full complement of players back. Siobhan Gregory back in the field of play.
It was good though to see that the referees have got it right this time when a player's off and they've got the right numbers in the scrums, and like it's 7 against 7, you have 3 up the front and 4 at the back. Line out comes, St. Peter's take the ball down. They set the driving maul, they're on the 22. Starting to drive forward, they're getting a little bit of traction. 1 metre, another metre, 20 metres to go. Another metre. Inch by inch. St. Peter's are taking the ball forward. Maul collapses. Referee recognises it. Puts his arm out for advantage to St. Peter's. St. Peter's still have the ball. The Maul's still going. They've reformed. They're away again. 10 metres out. They've marched 12 metres so far. They're still going. 8 metres to go. Joe's all frantically getting around behind the ball. Collapses again. Scrum's gone to ground. Referee Cook blows the whistle, brings him back. Penalty St. Peter's.
Jason Karunaratne. There's a countdown on meters by Paul. And he was hoping that they go all the way, but it stopped 8 meters short, but they get a penalty and move 5 meters closer now. So this was the replay.
Yeah, look, great work there by the forwards, isn't it? It's not the attractive running back play that everyone loves to see, but no, there's 8 guys in there doing a great job, and they're pushing forward and giving everything they can.
62 minutes on the clock, and this time the ball has been sacked nice and clean by the Josephians, and now they have to use it. And they managed trying to reform the mall here, the Peterites. And now they have to use, as the ball has stopped. Jason Karunaratne goes on the outside, give it out wide to Kenneth Vimaladasa, and they score a try. What a try it has been! 20 all in the Milo Knockouts final. Jason Karunaratne saw his fly off, calling on the outside, screaming at him, and everybody else were focused on the ball, and the referee wants to use it. Karunaratne heard the call from his fly, and we told the 9 and 10 combination could win or lose this game. There is one instance there.
It's wonderful communication also as well. The entire Josephian defense focused on the ball, but Jason Karunaratne just identifying the space. We saw on the back of the screen how Vimaladasa moved on to the blind side and just identifying the space and going over. And what a comeback this has been from St. Peter's. It's now 20 all with the kick to come.
Yeah, great recognition of space. Saw the winger wasn't there. Ran around the outside. He's going to do the Owen Farrell bit.
Yes, it was interesting, wasn't it, Paul? We just saw on the back of the screen how Vimaladasa slowly, unnoticed, just moving across and just caught that entire Josephian defense napping. It's just some brilliance can just spark a game into life, which it has definitely done.
Yeah, it turned my clock back to Rico Yuan in that All Blacks France game. He did the same, and Aaron Smith wrote one. And exactly the same thing. And Kenneth Vimaladasa, he was the only person, and Jason Karunaratne, who knew that there was space on the outside as Kenneth Vimaladasa slots this as he got his two. Yes, he has. Could this be the winning point? 22 points to 20, and about 5 minutes on our clock. And the Peterites are pumped up.
Yes, well, the difference in this half has definitely been the fact that St. Peter's have played much more rugby in St. Joseph's half vis-a-vis against in that first half. And another area where St. Joseph's have faltered many occasions is their inability to contain this Peterite driving maul. And St. Peter's execution on that part has been fantastic.
Inside the 22 they go now. Gets it out to Hilmi. Hilmi taking the ball into contact. They need to get this out soon into the opposition half. And they're trying to run from their own. Can be too much confidence at this point.
No!
Trying to pick and drive now, St. Peter's College. But inside their own half.
Roll away, no hands!
Referee Vairanga, nice and clear to the tackler to roll away. He has managed this game very well.
Stay back. Use it!
He has an opportunity.
Look, we've seen this from St. Peter's before. The best form of attack, form of defence when you're defending a lead is just hold on to the ball, and that's what they did just there. St. Joe's now have an opportunity to come back.
He has an opportunity now. It's Kavinda taking the ball into contact. Now St. Joseph's have the opportunity. Rashan Gunawardana giving it out wide. Gregory after spending his 10 minutes in the naughty chair.
Stay back, stay back, stay.
Russian Gunawardena gives him out wide to Viranga. Samisha Viranga taking the ball into contact.
No. Stay back, stay.
Yes, Russian now. No way through that
Stay.
for Eranda. This is Chaitya. Chaitya trying to stow one on the top and it bounces into touch. So trying to spark something out or nothing.
I think that's the right move though. He's got to try and spark something out of nothing, and I just don't see St Joseph's being dynamic enough in attack. There's not enough movement off the ball when they don't have the ball. When the ball's in the ruck, they're a little bit stale. That's the end of the game. It's the end of a very long season, so I can understand why they haven't got that dynamic movement.
Yes, as well as they managed to keep Gamanu Chaitya quiet in this half as well, which has played a big part. They managed to clamp down on him, not give him too much space. But for me, the biggest difference is they played much more rugby in the Josephian half.
Again, here's a maul once again. This is where they have been so good in the second half, St. Peter's. About just under 3 minutes to go. If they win another couple of penalties, they are through. St. Peter's College, as Josephians are trying to hold this on. Now Peters moving forward. Inside the 40-meter mark they go.
Stay back.
As Peters now taking the ball into contact. That's Pereira. Had some strong carries in the end. A penalty for holding on.
So the technical skill there is that if you're going to keep taking the ball around the corner and keep having the forwards pick and go, you've got to make sure that you fall the right way. And that time he just fell the wrong way. His legs and his body were facing the wrong direction. Got himself caught out, and that's when St Joseph's had an opportunity to get onto the ball. 2 minutes to go. They're 60 metres out, behind by 2 points. We asked the question earlier in the first half, should they have taken the kick at the end of the first half? Would 12 points be enough? At the moment it looks like they're 3 points short.
Got your math hat on today. It's a penalty. So St. Joseph's trying to regroup. 2 minutes on our clock. Gentlemen, it's time to put our hat on and to decide the man of the match as well. Both teams had a lot of players, not much in this game as well. We have the few options, and we had for Peters, Abdullah, Charles, Mizran, Hilmi, and Kenneth Vimaladas, and for St. Joseph's, Shan Akila, Gamunu Chaitya, Santu Shalgam and Russian Gunawardena, and in the forwards also it was Tiraka Santush who had a good game. Paul, who will you go to?
I'll go with Wimaladasa. I thought he controlled the game, but that little spark of magic that scored that winning try, that's enough. And then to come back and have the shot at goal and then kick that over from the sideline as well, you know, that's a little bit special, and that's been the winning of the game for St. Peter's. His kicking and general play hasn't been that great. He's always been a threat when he's had the ball in hand as well, but that little recognition that there's space on that far side, and then to nail the conversion might have gotten them home.
Yes, well, the game is not done as yet, Paul. St. Joseph's yet have possession, and we know they have players who can spark something as Gunawardena sets the line in motion.
And here's Samisha running straight into traffic, trying to turn over ball, and the ruck was formed, says the referee. Here's a great opportunity now for St. Joseph's College. Still have time, Josephians. Yes, Gamanu. He is one man that they can look forward to, who can spark something. And that's a knock forward. Could this be the end of the game for St. Joseph's College? Yes, it is. Referee Viranga blows the final whistle. St. Peter's College have made the Milo Knockouts final and they've won it. defending champions St. Joseph's go down, and the Peterites have come back strong after their defeat in the league tournament, and they have toppled over the Josephians, the mighty Josephians, who led 17 points to 5 and who can't believe themselves that they're on the losing side today. And what a game it was, Abdullah. It was a fantastic game of rugby, isn't it?
Absolutely. The game at half times, Josephs were well ahead, but we always spoke about this win factor and how St. Peter's have got the ability to come back. I thought their game management in the second half was much better. They played the game in St. Joseph's halves, got themselves into positions where they could execute their driving maul, and I felt the Josephians just missed the trick by not countering that maul effectively enough. And also I feel that at the end of the day, it's just that desire, isn't it, to take that best foot forward at the correct time. I think Paul also mentioned that in that first half, St. Joseph seemed to have thrown everything at St. Peter's. St. Peter's, although behind on the scoreboard, just had the ability to just absorb everything, and they just unleashed in that second half.
Yeah, look, it was a game of two halves, wasn't it? It was all about the wind and scoring points in the first half. St. Peter's, I think what they did in the first half was really good, really how they scored a try in that first half, and that really changed momentum there, and it caused the hiccup in St. Joe's game plan for the first half. They just wanted to come out and score points and just keep running the game and having everything tick over. They weren't able to do that. They lost the man to the bin in the first half. That was an upsetting time for them as well. But really, you know, St. Peter's, they grounded out in the end. What a great final. 2 points in it, 20 points to 22. You know, it was so tense and so close, and even right down to the last minute, you didn't really know. You know, I thought St. Joseph's might have had one or two more attacks in them. I spoke about them not being dynamic enough in their attack, and I thought they just looked a little bit tired in the end. And I think maybe the wind might have gotten to them in the end, and they were just out of energy.
This is also a matter of taking those points. We just keep on coming back into that again and again, Paul, isn't it? But end of the day, I think we have to commend both teams for dishing out a wonderful final. Entertaining rugby. It was very structured rugby as well. It was not just throwing the ball end to end as we have a look at the highlights of the second half.
That was the first point scored. Then it was everything. It was all Peters. Look at this pass. Lovely catch in two hands and a lovely catch and pass to put his winger on the space. That was Shenal Silva. And this is where they won the game. They managed to control the game so beautifully within this forwards group of St. Peter's College, going back to that rolling maul that they're good for. And then there was Julian Charles, who came out a lot of profits of the 7 of his forwards who made the hard yards, and this is where mentally they struck them and they put them down. St. Joseph's. Look at that Kenneth Vimaladas, who went out there on the outside. This was the winning try, and this is why he's our man of the match, who controlled the game. We initially thought his kicking was not that good, and then this kick made us wrong, and that was right through in between the posts. Kenneth Farrell Vimaladas, that we have called him today, has just made the Peterites win by 2 points. And was that 3 points that was not taken? It's all a debate that to have overnight today for the Josephians and the Peterites. But however, Peterites will be a very happy bunch after going down in that league, and they are.
Yes, and also I think they brought an end to a 3-match losing streak after dominating for 15 years. So I'm sure they'll be very, very pleased with this. But St. Joseph's also can take a lot of heart and credit for being part of a wonderful final. It has its ebbs and flows, but just St. Peter's showing tremendous resolve at the end of the day to keep their wits about them and just coming out on tops. And as we look at the final analysis, 4 tries to 2 was probably the difference between both teams.
Yeah, look, I think it was one thing. It was a wonderful final, but also what a great season both teams have had. St. Peter's and St. Joseph's. They've really brought the whole season alive, and it came down right to the last 2 games in the season for the competition, and rightfully these two get through. They get through to the final. They played really well all year, and you know, they gave everything right to the last minute, and it was still down to nothing. It was just that one wonderful kick there from the sideline that managed to get them ahead, and you know, really it could have gone either way. It was so close, that match.
Yeah, that's right, and I think also have to give credit to both the coaching staffs as well for putting in the yards amongst boys. Pushing them at the end of the season is never an easy thing. And I think both coaches, both institutions can be very, very happy with the effort put in by these boys today.
Yeah, look, there's good recognition and good analysis actually from the coaches. I saw the try in the first half by St Joseph's where the number 8 picked up the ball. They recognise that that's where their number 9 stands, and he's a small player, and if we're going to have the number 8 attacking anyone, you'd want him to attack that player there, and you know, it played out exactly how the coach wanted it to happen, and that's why they scored. So much work is done by Martis on his rolling maul, and we saw it last year, when previous years when he's been with Royal. Now we see it with St Peter's as well. That really got them over the line and scored them the try in the first half, scored them a try in the second half as well. You know, so you know, hats have got to go off to him and the way he's managed his team and brought his strengths, which is the rolling maul.
That's right, and also it was a bit surprising in the second half, wasn't it, Paul, how the Joseph's forwards seemed to have fatigued a bit from their effort in that first half, because the resistance at the rolling maul was not as great as it expected, because there was no difference in weight between both teams. But also I think it was also a concentration factor. They just let St. Peter's form the maul and just drive. And after that, it was like an afterthought when they tried to contain it, and by then it was too late.
Yeah, look, everyone's known that the St Joseph's line out is an area that you can attack. One, when they're throwing the ball in, but two as well, they don't quite defend as well as they need to, and you saw that in this game. So that'll be an area where the coaches will want to improve over the off season. But the way that the wind is here, psychologically, it's difficult for teams to come out in the second half when you're running into the wind and really play right to the end. You feel like you're running out of energy, your tank's empty, and the last 5 minutes is like you're running in concrete.
Yeah, that's right. And I thought just two areas where St. Joseph's, or rather St. Peter's, just adjusted, if I may use the correct word, one was the fact that they realized they have to play more rugby in the Josephian half, one. And second of all, I thought they did very well to cut off Gamru Chetia as an attacking option. We saw St. Joseph's in that latter part of the game going to Chetia, expecting him to do something, but you notice that the St. Peter's defense just cut off whatever space he had. And it's just that adjustment that they did in the second half, which probably shows in the scoreboard in the final analysis.
So the coaching staff is happy and they're celebrating down there the speed rides. On the other hand, it's the Josephians who are on the losing side this time after that league win. Here's the winning Peters team who are walking in, and what a moment this is. Look at that. Tears. They finished third in the league. But what good moments this is for a team who have come back a long way after their season, losing 3 of their star players. Ramin Fernando was out early in the season, and then they had Jason Karunaratne also breaking down, but he's back. But Mark Asau is on the bench. Their skipper Javid is on the bench, so lot of character of this team to come back.
Yeah, definitely, and also it shows the depth of the squad, isn't it? Both these teams possess, I just checked, the players like Mark Asau on the bench. They're losing their skipper, Robin Fernando, but it's just the depth of the squad as well. And even from St. Joseph's point of view, to have guys like Dulanjana Piatissa to come off the bench, it shows the depth that the teams have, and that also assists the coach as well. But at the end of the day, I mean, what a wonderful spectacle to close down this school season. It's been a hard-fought season, and I don't think the sponsors or the schools union could have expected a better game to bring the curtain down to the 15th season.
Yeah, we're ready for the presentation ceremony, and we'll join Haritha for the Milo Knockouts 2018 presentation ceremony. Over to you, Haritha.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have had a fantastic game of rugby to end with the Milo President's Trophy Schools Knockout Rugby Football Championship for the year 2018. Cordially inviting our presentation party for the occasion. Our chief guest today, Vice Admiral Sirimevan Ranasinghe, Commander of the Sri Lankan Navy. He'll be joined by Mr. Bandule Godage, Vice President Corporate Affairs, Nestle Lanka. Mr. Mohammed Ali, Senior Brand Manager, Milo. together with Mr. Ranjit Chandrasekhara, President, Sri Lanka Schools Rugby Football Association, and Mr. Nirodha, Rugby Football Association. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a fantastic game of rugby, a comeback story, and can we have a round of applause for the players on the field? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for St. Joseph's and St. Peter's for an excellent game. Thank you very much. Milo and Sri Lanka Schools Rugby are extremely fortunate to have this fantastic opportunity. First of all, may we cordially invite Mr. Bandule Godage, Vice President Corporate Affairs, to present the Player of the Tournament Award in the Schools President's Trophy Knockout Championship 2018. For his fantastic and untiring effort and leadership, together with his excellent play, Kenneth Vimaladasa of St. Peter's, Player of the Tournament. This has been an inspiring story for them. Critics said they were underdogs, but what a big comeback story it has been. This is what top rugby is all about. To play the game from the time the blow of the whistle to the end of the game with the blow of the whistle. Thank you very much, Mr. Bandule Godage. Cordial inviting Vice Admiral Sirimevan Ranasinghe, Commander, Sri Lankan Navy, our chief guest for the next set of presentations. First of all, may we call upon the runner-up team to receive their medals. St. Joseph's College. Josephians, led by Samisha Virangana, head coach Nilufa Ibrahim, teacher in charge Prasant Ranavira, Prefect of Games Reverend Father Milan Bernard, Rector Reverend Father Travis Gabriel. In the first half, they were dominant. They had 2 touchdowns and were leading 17-5, the Josephians. Missed a few opportunities, probably. Clearly, at halftime, the Maradana School was in front. There's been a hard season for everybody involved with schools rugby, and these 2 schools had the longest season. A lot of people who are behind the scene should be congratulated and remembered. It has been a great team effort on the part of the Joes. Defending champions, a lot of people thought that they would be the right story. They didn't disappoint their fans during the first half. Okay, calling the captain of St. Joseph's College to receive the runner-up trophy, Samisha Virangana. Milo Schools President's Trophy knockout runners-up. Well done, Jose. Congratulations, Jose. Cordial inviting our chief guest to make the presentations for the winning team as far as their medals concerned. St. Peter's College, Milo Schools knockout champions. The team led by Kenneth Vimaladasa, head coach Sanath Martis, teacher in charge Sunil Apanso, prefect of games and sports coordinator Reverend Father Tilina Pathum, rector Reverend Father Trevor Martin. Clear underdogs for this game, but they had the last laugh with a superb second half. 4 touchdowns. You couldn't have asked for anything more. They had the rolling ball going. The forwards played a fantastic game. Good cover defense on the part of the back division 2. Despite a clear disadvantage as far as the kicking concerned, the most important final conversion was successful for the Bambalapitiya school. For everybody who was behind St. Peter's through this season, this is a moment to ponder and rejoice. The boys didn't disappoint. The way they came back, that is what is important. An excellent team effort, without a doubt. Given the right guidance, they had the game under control during the last stages with a tremendous display. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's the proud moment. The Milo President's Trophy Schools Knockout Rugby Football Championship 2018 champions, St. Peter's College, calling the captain, Kenneth Vimaladasa! Just reward for a fantastic team effort. We would like to thank Vice Admiral Sirimevan Ranasinghe, Commander of the Sri Lankan Navy, our chief guest and the rest of the presentation party. On behalf of Milo and Sri Lanka Schools Rugby, we congratulate the winners. Thank you very much, all participants, all stakeholders. You remember the game we love, respect the game we love. That is what the story we want to tell. And until such time, we meet next year with another President's Trophy knockout final. Just to remind you that the Premier's Trophy and the Chairman's Trophy finals will be played tomorrow at this same venue. Be there, enjoy. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Harito, and it's a wonderful occasion for these Peterites. They've played their hearts out. They were down by 12 points in that first half. To come back and win in that second half was a fantastic effort by the Peterites. On the other hand, Josephians will be disappointed, but they will have everything to take for, because they were so close in the league and they were so close in the knockout, and it's the culture that they will carry on for the next season. That will be very important. The Milo Knockouts President's Trophy 2018 ends in a fashion like this, with the Peterites winning the Milo Knockouts Tournament 2018. As the firecrackers go out here at the racecourse and the lights are slowly coming down in Colombo, the Milo Knockouts 2018 and the school's 15th season ends, and it's the Peterites who have won the league, the knockouts, and the Royal College team who won the league tournament will be proudly cherishing this year as a wonderful year that they had in the rugby. Both teams and the supporting staff will be very happy, and also the Josephians who have managed to give them a good fight in both the tournaments to stay alive in this tournament. So that brings us for the coverage of 2018 by ThePapare.com. It was so much hard work by the crew to bring this live to you all, and it was the 2018 rugby season that ends with a fantastic win for Peters College against the Josephians, and we'll be back with the school servants and much more action still with the Dialogue Club Rugby League also coming up later in the year. A lot of sevens action coming up as well, and that's the end of the coverage for the schools 15 action for 2018, with Pete Wrights finishing off at the top in the knockouts. From Dinuk Bhaskaran, Abdullah Yusuf and Paul Toya in the commentary box, and the entire Papare team, we sign off from the Racecourse International Grounds. Good night until we see you next time on our live action.
Oh,